Chapter 386, Leng Ruoxua vs. Su Nan, 3, Editor, Atlas Studios. Everyone nodded tacitly and stopped talking. They each thought about their strategy for today. Soon, Leng Ruoxua and the others went on stage one by one. After going on stage, Leng Ruoxua, Freak, Leng Qingtian, Lin Liang, and Old Man defeated their opponents very cleanly. Only Old Zhao and the other two encountered some trouble. But they finally defeated their opponents and obtained hard-won victories with the help of their beasts. 5 days later, Leng Ruoxua and the others all entered the top 100 of the competition. After the top 100 were decided, the competition would be on break for 3 days to give all the mystics time to adjust their states. At the residence of Leng Ruoxua and the others, everyone was busy in the yard, preparing a sumptuous dinner, which was rare for the past few days. After everything was ready, everyone ate heartily. Ha! Little Snowy, I haven't congratulated you all for entering the top 100 yet. Lan Ming said happily. Hee, the competition these few days was really too enjoyable. Leng Ruoxua and the others were in the limelight. But he knew that this wasn't what they wanted, so they would immediately return to their residence after their matches for the day. Moreover, they refused to meet anyone under the pretext that they wanted to conserve their strength. It's only the top 100. What's there to congratulate? Leng Ruoxua glanced at Lan Ming nonchalantly. She was going to get first place, and she was only in the top 100 now. Boo-hoo. It looked like there were still several rounds. Moreover, it was said that the further the competition reached its end, the more complicated the steps of elimination were, and the slower the speed. Unless you could win every match, there would be no end to your competition. Unsatisfied girl, the top 100 is already very impressive. Lan Ming smiled helplessly. My goal is first place, Leng Ruoxua reminded. But she didn't want to become Wu Gong's disciple. Moreover, that spot probably wasn't prepared for her. Little Snowy, you have now become the dark horses of the competition, and many forces are eyeing you now. Moreover, the methods Sun Meilin will use will likely become more and more intense. Lan Ming sighed worriedly. During the competition these past few days, Sun Meilin had given them a lot of trouble. However, Leng Ruoxua and the others had easily resolved them. He was worried for Leng Ruoxua and the others every time he saw the vicious gaze in Sun Meilin's eyes after her schemes failed. But these people didn't take it seriously at all. Alas! He was really a little helpless. Little Lan Lan, well, deal with whatever comes our way. Worrying won't be able to solve any problems, so calm down. Leng Ruoxua said nonchalantly. To be honest, if Carefree City didn't prohibit private fights and Sun Meilin had too many people protecting her, she would have probably quietly gotten rid of her long ago. How could she let that crazy woman plot against her time and again? That's right. President Lan, that woman is a lunatic. Don't worry too much, Old Zhao said casually. Hee, others might not know what the girl was capable of, but did he not know? Sun Meilin wouldn't be able to do anything with the girl around. While everyone was eating and chatting, someone knocked on the door. Zhengyan, go see who's here. Leng Ruoxua ordered Zhengyan, who was closest to the door. Yes, Mississippi. Zhengyan stood up and walked toward the door. He returned a few minutes later. Miss, it's Chen Wei. Zhengyan said. Chen Wei. What is he doing here? Let him in. Leng Ruoxua said after some thought. Chen Wei was the linen-clothed man whom she had bet 10 million purple gold coins on the first day of the competition. After defeating his opponent, Chen Wei had been seriously injured and was originally unable to participate in the following competition. But she got Zheng En to send Chen Wei medicinal pills to treat his injuries. After some hard work, Chen Wei also got into the top 100. Okay, Miss, Zheng En answered and went to the door to welcome Chen Wei in. Chen Wei thanks Miss Leng for your kindness. The first thing Chen Wei did after entering was to kneel on the ground and bow very gratefully. To him, Leng Ruoxua was his second parent. If not for her, he would have probably become a cripple. But Leng Ruoxue, who liked to keep a low profile, didn't see him even though he had come many times. So he didn't have any hopes of seeing her this time, but he didn't expect her to be finally willing to see him. Get up. Although I saved you, I really don't need your gratitude, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. She had always been casual in saving people. She would save those she found pleasing to the eye, and it was useless to beg her if she didn't like them. After all, she was not a savior. Miss Leng, you are my great benefactor. If not for your pills, I would have been a cripple long ago, so, Chen Wei was about to continue when he was interrupted by Leng Ruoxue. Your will is very firm, and you are very courageous, but you are a little too persistent. It will be disadvantageous to your growth if this goes on. Leng Ruoxue very clearly pointed out the weakness in Chen Wei. In fact, the reason she was willing to save him was mostly because of the rare aura of a powerhouse on Chen Wei's body. But she wasn't optimistic. Chen Wei didn't cherish his life in order to win. After all, in her opinion, nothing was more important than life. The outcome of the competition was only temporary. What was the use of winning the competition if he lost his life? Chen Wei has learned a lesson. Chen Wei knew that what Leng Ruoxue said made sense. But his desire to win at the time had been too strong, so he went astray. In fact, he was usually a very rational person. Chen Wei, why are you looking for me today? Leng Ruoxue asked lightly while her watery eyes stared at Chen Wei in front of her. I heard a piece of news, Chen Wei said and told Leng Ruoxue and the others the news he had heard. Thank you for telling me this news, Leng Ruoxue said gratefully. Miss Leng, you are too polite. You are my great benefactor. I wouldn't be human if I didn't tell you after hearing this news. Chen Wei smiled foolishly, his face a little embarrassed. After speaking, he left. Shuer, Sun Meilin seems to hate us to the core. She actually, Leng Qingtian said with a worried expression. Chapter 387, Leng Ruoxue vs. Su Nan, 4, Editor, Atlas Studios, Grandpa, don't worry. We're safe for now, Leng Ruoxue comforted. Little Tian, don't be afraid. I'll protect all of you, Icy said without looking up while eating the food in front of him. Why don't you settle down in Carefree City? No one will dare to do anything to you here, Lan Ming suggested. Even though many mystics wanted to settle down in Carefree City, the property prices here were quite high, so ordinary mystics could hardly afford to live here. But Leng Ruoxue had won so much money and could definitely afford the houses here. No, I don't want to live here. Leng Ruoxue declined Lan Ming's good intentions. She had discussed with her grandfather and the others some time ago that they planned to buy a relatively remote small city in the future as their residence. After all, they had a lot of people and many secrets that weren't good to reveal. But it's relatively safer here than outside, Lan Ming advised stubbornly. He was really worried about the safety of Leng Ruoxue and the others. There will also be hidden dangers in safe places. Moreover, this place is under Wugong's jurisdiction. If we live here, we could die without knowing why. How sad would that be? Leng Ruoxue didn't want to live in this seemingly safe place. They even had to be wary of some people now that they were staying in the headquarters. However, if they bought a house in Carefree City, those people might not dare to do anything openly, but that didn't mean they wouldn't dare to do anything. After all, the rules of Carefree City were dead, and the headquarters would probably turn a blind eye. They were merely weak mystics, so no one would uphold justice for them. After hearing what Leng Ruoxue said, Lan Ming was speechless. Alas! This girl might be young, but she's much more experienced in thinking things through than I am. Boo-hoo! He suddenly felt that he was really too useless and couldn't help much. Alas! Let's compete in peace first. We can discuss these things slowly, Leng Qingtian mediated. Some things really couldn't be rushed. Little Lan, why is only Su Nan from the 10 great geniuses of the boundless heaven continent participating in the competition? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously, changing the topic. Although some of the mystics participating in the competition were very strong, they were not among the 10 great geniuses. So she really wanted to know what kind of strength the famous 10 great geniuses had now. Every mystic is allowed to participate in 3 competitions held by the Mystic Association headquarters at most. Most of the top 10 geniuses have already competed 3 times, and some have already advanced to Mystic Monarch. Thus, only Su Nan participated. But the other 9 geniuses should be coming to watch the competition in a few days, Lan Ming explained. How are the other 9 geniuses compared to Su Nan? Leng Ruoxue continued asking. Su Nan only ranks 8th among the 10 great geniuses. He's not very strong compared to the others. The most powerful among the 10 great geniuses should be Leng Wudi. He ranks first among the 10 great geniuses and is also the leader of the younger generation of the Leng family of the 3 great families, Lan Ming said lightly while staring at Leng Ruoxue strangely. His name is Leng Wudi, and yours is Leng Ruoxue. Don't tell me you're also from the Leng family? Lan Ming's handsome face was full of doubts. Does having the surname Leng mean you have to be from the Leng family? Leng Ruoxue asked instead of answering. Of course not. I'm just a little curious, Lan Ming said shyly. Hee, everyone had the gift of gossip. Leng Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Lan Ming. Then seeing that everyone was almost done eating, she said, everyone, rest early after dinner. Everyone nodded, cleaned up, and returned to their rooms. 3 days passed quickly. On the morning of the 4th day, Leng Ruoxue and the others arrived on time to prepare for their matches today. As usual, Leng Ruoxue and the others went directly to their seats after entering the venue. Seeing them, the people from Sunzhou City sitting next to them revealed jealous and slightly hateful gazes. Leng Ruoxue looked at the people from Sunzhou City with a smile that was not a smile. Alas! These people are really too childish. Everyone was obviously a mystic, but they were hostile to them for the sake of a small association competition. But since they liked to be used by others, they asked for it no matter the outcome, so she wouldn't pity them. Not long after Leng Ruoxue and the others sat down, Lan Ming, who had gone to draw lots, returned. Of course, Zhou Kun, who had a very gloomy expression, returned with him. Sunzhou City's Mystic Association had sent a total of 15 people to participate in the competition this time. But only 5 people entered the top 100 in the end. On the other hand, all of the participants from Windless City's Mystic Association, which Zhou Kun had always been hostile to, entered the top 100, making him very uncomfortable. Moreover, he couldn't understand why they had all entered the top 100 even though he had clearly set up many obstacles. One had to know that the future of the mystics who could enter the top 100 would be very bright, and this would also affect his future as the president. Little Snowy, there are 10 groups in the first round today. If you can all win, there's no need to participate in the additional round, Lan Ming said happily. 10 mystics would be eliminated from today's competition. But he believed that it wouldn't be a problem for Leng Ruoxue and the others to advance to the next round with their strength. Moreover, the 3 weakest people still had dragons in their hands. Their powerful beasts were enough to let them sweep the entire competition. We will try our best to end the battles quickly, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. She had no intention of participating in the additional round anyway. It would be a waste of time. The strength of your opponents today is not much different from yours, Lan Ming continued while glancing at Zhou Kun. Leng Ruoxue and the others would be facing 3 mystics of Sunzhou City today. He didn't know if it was intentional or a coincidence. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded slightly. She leaned in Freak's arms, closed her eyes, and pretended to sleep. In fact, she wasn't at all curious about who her opponents were. After all, she had basically understood the strength of those people after competing for a week, so she knew very well that no one among them was her match. But even though she couldn't rule out the possibility that some people had hidden their strength, she wasn't afraid. Chapter 388, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 1, Editor, Atlas Studios, Little Snowy, you're in the second group, Lan Ming said. It had been a week since the competition, and he was already used to their calmness, so he didn't expect them to have much of a reaction. Little Lan, there are so many spectators today, old Zhao said in surprise as he looked at the dense crowd in the audience. From today onward, the competition will become more and more exciting, so there will naturally be more mystics coming to watch it. Moreover, many top forces have sent people to watch the competition. Do you see the new main stage? The representatives of the top forces will be sitting on it. The big shots of the Mystic Association will also be attending the finals, Lan Ming explained. More and more people would pay attention to the competition as it progressed, and Len Ruoxue and the others would also be targeted by more forces. But with Len Ruoxue and the others' temperament, he knew that they would definitely be annoyed. Oh, little Lan, when will it be my turn? Old Zhao asked curiously. You're in the third group behind Little Snowy, Lan Ming said as he looked at the schedule in his hand. Oh, I'll sleep for a while then. Old man Zhao actually closed his eyes like Len Ruoxue after speaking. Lan Ming looked at everyone and shook his head helplessly with a sigh. Alas! These people were really too carefree and not suitable to join any top force. Time passed by slowly, and after the host's routine opening speech, the competition officially began. The focus of today's competition was on Len Ruoxue and the others because the audience was very curious whether they could still create the miracle of the previous few rounds and advance to the next round without any suspense. The 5 matches of the first group ended in dull silence. Little Snowy, it's your turn, Lan Ming reminded softly. Got it. Len Ruoxue opened her eyes, stood up, looked at her grandfather and the others, and walked directly to the arena. After standing on the arena, Len Ruoxue waited for a long time without seeing her opponent, which made her a little angry. She hated people who were late the most, even though she didn't know who this opponent was. Referee, why isn't my opponent here yet? Are we still competing? Len Ruoxue asked with some displeasure, her watery eyes hiding an angry killing intent. Wait a minute. Your opponent should be here soon. We'll naturally judge you as the winner if he doesn't appear within half an hour. Don't worry, the referee comforted fearfully. Damn! This woman's eyes are really too terrifying. Boo-hoo! Isn't that young lady harming me? Do you mean that I have to wait for another half an hour? Len Ruoxue said coldly with narrowed eyes. Damn it! It was obvious that Sun Meilin was behind this again. Ah! These are the rules of the competition. If the competitor goes on stage within half an hour, it won't be considered forfeiting. Otherwise, it will be treated as forfeiting. The referee brought out the rules of the competition. You can't say anything now. Alas! Len Ruoxue gave him too much pressure, making him abnormally nervous. Oh! Since I have to wait half an hour, I'll sleep first, Len Ruoxue answered softly. She took out a recliner from her ring and placed it on the arena. She lay down and even summoned Charm. Then she hugged Charm in her left arm and Icy in her right arm and closed her eyes as if no one else was around. Len Ruoxue's smooth movement dumbfounded the referee. Ah! What's going on? He had refereed so many matches, but this was the first time he had encountered a competitor who dared to sleep on the arena. The audience was dumbfounded because Len Ruoxue's actions were really beyond their expectations. But her behavior also impressed them. This was really too bold. No one else would dare to do so. Schwer should have hugged me to sleep. Boo-hoo, Freak murmured with raging jealousy, his pitch-black eyes burning with roaring flames. At this moment, he already hated the person who deliberately didn't appear. Thinking of this, Freak strode onto the arena. Ah! What does he want to do? Lan Ming asked dumbfoundedly as he watched Yichen get on the arena. Len Ruoxue was already shocking enough. Now, little Chen Chen actually joined in. Alas! He was really helpless. Lan Ming stole a glance at Ling Qingtian and the others and found that their expressions were as usual without any abnormalities. He couldn't help sighing in his heart. Alas! It seemed like he still had to train. Look at how calm these people were. He didn't know when he could be like them, able to watch mountains collapse batting an eyelid. On the arena. The referee looked at the man who suddenly went on the arena and was stunned. After recovering his senses, he questioned angrily, "Who are you? Who allowed you to come up?" "I'm her man. I'm here to accompany my woman," Freak said arrogantly. He ignored the referee's anger and walked directly to Len Ruoxu's side. Under everyone's eyes, he also lay down as if no one was around. Then he stretched out his long arms and hugged Len Ruoxu. "Damn it! Where do you think this place is?" the referee roared furiously, his face turning green with anger. This was really too lawless. Did these two people take him, the referee, seriously? There's no one competing anyway. We have to sacrifice a little to avoid the arena going cold. Freak said nonchalantly, his eyes emitting waves of killing intent. If it wasn't this place, I would have eliminated all the people who bullied Schwer. The referee was so angry that he couldn't say anything for a long time. On the main stage. "Who are these two?" a handsome and extraordinary nobleman in luxurious clothes asked the person beside him softly. This man was in his 20s. His appearance was incomparably handsome, his temperament was noble like a god, and his pitch-black starry eyes were bright and stunning. The woman is Len Ruoxue, and the man is Yi Chen. They are from Windless City's Mystic Association. I heard that they are an engaged couple. The person beside the man was none other than Su Nan. Su Nan looked at the stage and sighed. Chapter 389, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 2, Editor, Atlas Studios, Len Ruoxue. These two are quite interesting. The nobleman's shiny black eyes revealed an interested expression. Yes, she has the same surname as you. Su Nan glanced at the man beside him. Len Wudi was interested in Len Ruoxue. He didn't know if this was a good or bad thing for that woman. But he knew very well that that woman wasn't someone others could control even though he had not interacted much with her. How's her strength? Len Wudi asked casually. But his eyes were fixed on Len Ruoxue and Yi Chen, who were on the arena and ignoring everyone else. Better than mine, Su Nan said gloomily. Alas! He didn't expect that he couldn't even defeat a woman. Boo-hoo! How sad! Oh! Who is her opponent in this match? Len Wudi asked curiously. Len Ruoxue was really calm. If it were anyone else, they would probably become angry long ago. But she could actually enjoy herself. It's really unbelievable. Ha! It's Bai Ru, Su Nan said while looking at the schedule in his hand. Bai Ru? Is that woman courting death? Len Wudi frowned slightly and said with obvious displeasure. In fact, he didn't know why he was angry. Probably ordered by Sun Meilin, Su Nan said in realization. Sun Meilin's methods are becoming more and more childish. She actually wanted to use such a method to make Len Ruoxue angry. Unfortunately, she didn't care at all. Wasn't she sleeping on the arena? Huh? Do they have a feud? Len Wudi asked in puzzlement, his handsome face full of question marks. I guess so. Su Nan explained the ins and outs of the enmity between Len Ruoxue and Sun Meilin to Len Wudi. He had sent people to investigate these things after his battle with Len Ruoxue. The Sun family is really becoming more and more capable, Len Wudi said with disdain. The Sun family has always been shameless. What's there to fuss about, said another man in blue beside Len Wudi. His gaze was also full of interest as he stared at Len Ruoxue and Yi Chen on the arena. Ha! These two people really suited his taste too much. Even though their appearance was a little inferior, his impression of these two people wasn't bad. After speaking, the blue-clothed man felt the cold air around him intensify. But he ignored it because he was used to it. What? Do you want to see the world burn again? Leng Wuti said helplessly. His good friend was really. Ha, you're right. How can I miss out on fun things? Moreover, how can they be a match for the Sun family? This is too unfair to them, so I have to uphold justice, the blue-clothed man said righteously as if he was the embodiment of justice. Uphold justice? I think you're going to cause trouble. Leng Wuti exposed him rudely. The Lan family and the Sun family had always been at odds, and as the young master of the Lan family, Lan Lai naturally had to spare no effort in causing trouble for the Sun family. What? Can't bear for your fiancé to be bullied? The blue-clothed man, Lan Lai, raised his eyebrows provocatively. My fiancé? Who? Leng Wuti's handsome face was full of question marks. Why didn't he know that he had a fiancé? Did his grandfather secretly arrange one for him? Impossible. His grandfather knew his character and shouldn't do such a thing. Sun Meilin, of course. Lan Lai smiled mischievously, his handsome face full of teasing. Sun Meilin had always regarded herself as Leng Wuti's fiancée. Unfortunately, the man didn't know about this at all. Ha, it's really too funny. When did this happen? Why don't I know? Leng Wuti was puzzled. When did Sun Meilin become his fiancée? It's been a long time. Everyone on the boundless heaven continent knows, except for you. Lan Lai said happily, his face about to bloom with laughter. Leng Wuti was a little depressed. So everyone on the boundless heaven continent knew except for him, the main character. Did the Leng family also know? No one actually told him this news. Actually, you don't have to be too depressed. She can't rely on you, Lan Lai comforted very kindly. Leng Wuti sighed helplessly and fell silent. His gaze was a little envious as he looked at Leng Ruoxue and Yi Chen on the arena. Alas! When will I be as carefree and carefree as them? 10 minutes. 20 minutes passed. Leng Ruoxue's opponent was still not on the arena. Leng Ruoxue lay comfortably in Freak's arms as if she didn't have a care at all, ignoring everyone present. Referee, she really doesn't care about such an important match. You should punish her by getting her off the arena. Sun Meilin, who had waited for a long time without getting the effect she wanted, finally couldn't help jumping out and criticizing loudly. Punish her by getting off the stage. Cold sweat dripped down the referee's forehead. This little princess of the Sun family really wasn't afraid. There was no rule that prohibited sleeping on the arena in the rules of the competition. Moreover, if he really punished Leng Ruoxue by getting her off the arena with such a reason in front of so many people, then he wouldn't have to stay in the Mystic Association anymore. Leng Ruoxue, who had been pretending to sleep with her eyes closed, raised her eyelids slightly and said calmly, What? Miss Sun, are you losing your cool? Leng Ruoxue, you really don't care about the competition. Sun Meilin roared again. She had already lost her mind from being angry with Leng Ruoxue. Hee, of course, I don't care about the competition, Leng Ruoxue said softly. Referee, did you hear that? Hurry up and punish this ugly monster who looks down on the competition, Sun Meilin shouted, thinking that her scheme had succeeded. How is it enough to only care about such an important competition? I keep it in my heart. Leng Ruoxue deliberately paused, smiled lightly, and continued, teasing Sun Meilin like a cat catching a mouse. You! Damn it! That's not what you said just now. Sun Meilin roared without caring about her image. At this moment, she looked no different from a shrew. Chapter 390, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 3, Editor, Atlas Studios, Miss Sun, you were too impatient. I didn't finish speaking, Leng Ruoxue said unhurriedly with a smile. Sun Meilin was about to go crazy from anger. She wanted to skin Leng Ruoxue alive. Miss Sun. How many times have I reminded you not to shout in public? You have to pay attention to your temperament. Alas. You will scare away the man you like by acting like this, Len Ruoxue advised earnestly again. Ha! This Sun Meilin always came knocking on her door to be dealt a blow. She was a little embarrassed, but she was also quite bored. So why should she be polite since someone was willing to be abused? You, Sun Meilin was about to shout. But after Len Ruoxue's reminder, she remembered Len Wudi was sitting on the main stage and forced herself to bear with it. It's finally quiet. Len Ruoxue sighed. Swear, you don't have to care about those flies, Freak reminded her. I think so too. But some flies keep buzzing in my ears, making it impossible for me to sleep, Len Ruoxue complained. Hee, leave chasing the flies away to me in the future. Freak volunteered. Okay. Referee, how many minutes until the time is up? Len Ruoxue answered and then turned her gaze to the referee. There are still 3 minutes, the referee said with a slight tremble while grumbling in his heart. Boo-hoo. If these two want to talk love, can they do it in private? He was under a lot of pressure standing beside them. Len Ruoxue nodded and closed her eyes again. On the main stage. Ha, this woman is really too amazing. Lan Lai laughed happily. A mystic with no background actually dared to provoke the little princess of the Sun family. Her courage was commendable. He had to get to know such a brave woman. Otherwise, he would regret it. Hopefully, she's mentally prepared to receive the Sun family's revenge, a man in black on the main stage suddenly said coldly. Sun Teng, are you planning to take action against her? Lan Lai asked cautiously. He wouldn't let the Sun family destroy such a brave and interesting woman. I'm not that bored, but it's hard to say for Sun Meilin, the man in black named Sun Teng said coolly. If he really wanted to stand up for the Sun family, the first person he should deal with was Lan Lai. How could it be anyone else's turn? Sun Meilin won't amount to much, Lan Lai said disdainfully. Women who acted cockily just because they were pampered were forever only worthy of being pawns of the family, just like his cousin. She was beautiful, but she was a brainless fool. Don't underestimate a woman's ability. You will be doomed, Sun Teng reminded. That Bai Ru listened to Sun Meilin because of you, right? Lan Lai said in realization. Although the Lan family and the Sun family had always been at odds, he had a good relationship with Sun Teng. No one would dare to say this to Sun Teng except him. The women of the Bai family have nothing to do with me, Sun Teng said with some annoyance. Ha! Lan Lai laughed happily at Sun Teng's reaction. You should die laughing. Sun Teng looked at Lan Lai angrily. Isn't it time? Is that Bai Ru still not on the arena? Lan Lai looked at the time after laughing. She's already gone up, Len Wudi reminded. Oh. Lan Lai's gaze turned to the arena. As expected, Bai Ru had already walked onto the arena. On the arena. Bai Ru stared at Len Ruoxue with disdain. Embracing in public, you really don't know any shame, Bai Ru said mockingly in disdain. She had promised Sun Meilin that she would humiliate Len Ruoxue, so she started finding trouble as soon as she got on the arena. Unfortunately, Len Ruoxue, Freak, and even the two beasts ignored her. Hey, slut, I'm talking to you. Don't pretend to be deaf and mute, Bai Ru roared angrily because she could already feel that everyone's eyes seemed to be on her now. Moreover, there were actually sympathetic gazes among them. Damn it. What's going on? Why are they all staring at me? Were they charmed by my beauty? She guessed narcissistically. However, no human or beast bothered with her. Referee, are we still going to compete? Bai Ru questioned the referee furiously. Let the match begin, the referee said with some displeasure, and he couldn't help cursing in his head. Fuck, what do these aristocratic young ladies think I am? Even a normal person will be angry. Moreover, I'm not their dog. Swear, the match has begun. Freak whispered in Len Ruoxue's ear. Okay. Darling, Dazzle, Rise, come out and play with her for a while. Len Ruoxue opened her eyes slightly and released Darling, Dazzle, and Rise at the same time. Then she ignored everything and closed her eyes again. Beloved master, leave this ugly woman to us. Darling rubbed against Len Ruoxue's body coquettishly. Master, master, I will definitely play with her well, Dazzle promised solemnly. Hee, I won't let this ugly woman go. Humph. She has to pay the price for bullying master. Master, this woman stinks. It's killing me, Rise said exaggeratedly. You damn beasts, you're really tired of living. Bai Ru said through gritted teeth while glaring at the three small and cute beasts standing in front of her. She was about to attack, but she saw Len Ruoxue suddenly summoning her spirit beasts, and these spirit beasts actually teamed up to humiliate her. Humph. She had never been humiliated by beasts in her life. So she would definitely not let these damn beasts who dared to embarrass her go. You are the beast. Your entire family is beasts, Dazzle said with a displeased face. Hee, we are the cutest beasts of our cute master. A humanoid beast like you won't understand, Darling said with contempt. Chapter 391, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, for, Editor, Atlas Studios. Yes, humanoid beast, I want to destroy you on behalf of my master. Rise said seriously, his expression extremely serious. You, Bai Ru was so angry that she couldn't speak. Bai Ru calmed down slightly and ordered, Referee, what does she mean? Why is that ugly man still on the arena? Chase him and these few stray beasts quickly. The competition allows the use of spirit beasts, the referee said with a face full of black lines. Damn, this was the first time he had seen a beast with such a sharp tongue that could make people vomit blood. It was really too enjoyable. Moreover, he wasn't the only one with such thoughts. Almost everyone present had such thoughts. Some people even eagerly hoped that they would quarrel more because such a scene was rare. Lan Lai was the best example. After hearing the conversation between the beasts and Bai Ru, he was already laughing so hard that he was almost rolling on the ground. Ha, these beasts are so cute. Where did Len Ruoxue find them? Lan Lai said with a smile, his speech a little unclear. Isn't Len Ruoxue planning to make a move? Su Nan murmured curiously. What would she do? If it were me, I wouldn't do anything either. These few beasts can anger the opponents to death, Lan Lai said happily. People whispered among themselves on the main stage and in the audience stands. Moreover, everyone had happy smiles on their faces. But on the arena, Bai Ru was in a terrible mood. Len Ruoxue, don't you dare to fight me. Bai Ru was so angry that her chest was heaving violently, gloomy from the provocation. She really wanted to kill someone now. It's not that I don't dare. You're just not worthy, Len Ruoxue said coldly with her eyes closed. What did you say? Say it again if you have the balls. Bai Ru roared furiously, her beautiful eyes spitting flames. I'm sorry. I don't have those things, so of course I'm not speaking nonsense, Len Ruoxue said calmly with a light smile. Her words made everyone burst into laughter again. Damn it. I won't let you go. Bai Ru's heart burned with anger when she heard the mocking laughter from the audience. With a thought, a saber with a terrifying cold aura appeared in her hand. The saber wasn't large. The blade of the saber was about half a meter long, and the handle was about the size of an adult's palm. But it was definitely a sacred artifact, and a good quality one from the aura it emitted. Wow, it's actually a sacred artifact. This Bai family is really generous. An elementary mystic actually has a sacred artifact. The Bai family has an artificer, so it's normal to have sacred artifacts. The moment Bai Ru's saber appeared, it indeed caused a considerable stir in the venue. The audience was also discussing it. Some were envious, some were jealous. Ugly monster. You're dead meat. Bai Ru was very pleased with herself as she listened to the discussions. Moreover, she felt that she had regained some face. "You are the ugly, old, and stinky ugly monster," Darling roared furiously. Humph. She was obviously the ugliest, but she still dared to say that his beloved master was ugly. She really didn't know life from death. "You. Damn it. You beasts are dead meat too," Bairu said fiercely with a ferocious glare. "Brothers, let's go and destroy her on behalf of master," Dazzle said impatiently. This woman had been jumping around for too long. He really couldn't take it anymore. "Okay." Darling and Rise nodded and immediately divided the work tacitly. The three little beasts pounced at Bairu together. Darling focused on her face, and his sharp little claws ruthlessly scratched her face. Dazzle was responsible for her upper body, and his equally sharp little claws scratched her body with all his might. Before long, the gorgeous clothes on her became beggar clothes. One by one, pieces of torn clothes flew and endless erotic sights kept sneaking out. Rise was in charge of her lower body. He used the sharp horn on his head to poke her legs. "Ah! Damn it! Tet lost!" Bairu screamed. The saber in her hand had long been thrown to the ground of the arena. Her dancing arms tried to capture the three little beasts doing strange things on her body. But the three little beasts were very agile, and they wouldn't stay in the same place for long before changing positions. Bairu was a little helpless. She endured the intense pain on her body and waved her arms to capture Darling and the other two beasts. At the same time, her body twisted vigorously in an attempt to shake off the three annoying little beasts sticking to her body, wanting to avoid their attacks. At this moment, she had long been flustered and only cared about fleeing all over the arena. She didn't even have the chance to fight back, and her body was already riddled with wounds. The referee, the audience, and everyone on the main stage stared at the funny scene on the arena with their mouths agape, dumbfounded. Heavens! It was too tragic. These three beasts were really strong. They tortured an elementary mystic to the point of almost dying without using any skills. Not only that, but they also embarrassed Bairu. Alas! She was the fourth-ranked beauty on the boundless heaven continent. She was destroyed just like that. Everyone sighed endlessly over this. Come on, come on. Scratch her with all your might. Icy's excited cheers sounded from the side of the arena. Everyone in the audience was at a loss for words. At this moment, the understanding charm jumped from Len Ruoxia's arms to the arena and picked up the saber that Bai Ruoxia had thrown on the ground. The saber wasn't very big, but it was several times larger than Charm's petite and cute body. Charm tapped the blade with his little paw and nodded with great satisfaction. This blade is passable. Charm's words shocked everyone again. Many people couldn't help grumbling in their heads, "You're a beast and don't even use weapons. What do you know about good and bad?" Chapter 392, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 5, Editor, Atlas Studios. In fact, this was probably the root of the inferiority of humans. Many people felt that they were nobler than beasts and looked down on beasts. But what they didn't know was that in the face of absolute strength, life didn't have a hierarchy, no matter noble or low. Be it humans, beasts, or even all lives, all were equal. Let me see. Icy strode to Charm's side and took the saber from his paw. He looked at it several times and finally came to an important conclusion. This saber is too ordinary. Reforge it. With that, the little claw crushed the saber into a pile of crumbs. The claw that Icy deliberately revealed stunned everyone present again. After they reacted, the audience exploded once more. Damn! This puppy is too awesome. It actually shattered the sacred artifact. Is this a dog? What breed is it? I want one too. My idol. Everyone went crazy for the strong and awesome puppy. On the main stage. What do you think? Lan Lai looked at Leng Wudi and couldn't help asking. What happened on the arena just now really exceeded what he knew. I don't know, Len Wuti said lightly. His bright eyes stared at the arena where Len Ruoxue was. Although the battles on the other arena hadn't ended yet, it was obvious that everyone's attention had been snatched away by the arena where Len Ruoxue was. Hey, don't you feel bad? Lan Lai teased Sun Ting again after seeing how boring Len Wuti's reaction was. None of my business. My heart aches for the claws of those little beasts, Sun Ting said coolly and then ignored Lan Lai. You two boring men. Lan Lai complained, and his gaze returned to the arena. On the arena. Len Ruoxue lazily opened her bright watery eyes, looked at the situation on the arena, and said lightly, let's end the battle quickly. Don't delay other people's competition time. Okay, beloved master, Darling replied and scratched harder. Bai Ru's current condition couldn't even be described with the word tragic anymore. Her face and body were covered in scratches, and the tattered clothes covering her body were on the verge of crumbling. The erotic scenery within was even more visible. No, we haven't beaten her down yet. Len Ruoxue suddenly remembered something. She had to follow the rules on the arena. She wouldn't be judged as the winner until she beat her opponent down. Master, this woman would rather die than lie down, Dazzle said aggrievedly. It wasn't that they didn't work hard, but this woman was really too persistent. I see. Go and help too. Len Ruoxue frowned in thought and summoned 2 silver wolves. Yes, master. The 2 silver wolves were excited. They had admired the scene on the arena for a long time in the space, and their claws were itching, hee hee. Freak, did my beasts become a little naughty? Len Ruoxue looked at the 2 excited silver wolves, and 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Her beasts had skills, but why did they like to scratch instead of using them? No way. Freak said, but he couldn't help laughing secretly in his heart. Hee hee, this is what it means for beasts to resemble their masters. After the 2 silver wolves joined the scratching army, the 5 little beasts worked together and finally scratched the already tragic Bai Ru unconscious. Reporting to master, this ugly woman has finally fainted, Dazzle said very formally. Well done. Len Ruoxue praised with a very satisfied expression on her face. Len Ruoxue looked up at the nervous referee, who was trembling a little, and asked while suppressing her smile, Referee, should I wait another 10 minutes? Ah. Why yes. The referee was so scared that he stammered a little. Boo-hoo. These beasts were really too terrifying. The audience was far away, so they absolutely couldn't see them as clearly as he did. He was really terrified. Moreover, his head was screaming non-stop, don't scratch me. Don't scratch me. It was apparent that he was really badly scared. 10 minutes later. After the referee announced the result, he immediately escaped from the arena at lightning speed and disappeared without a trace. Why did he run so quickly? This referee is really too rude. The competitors haven't even left yet, but he ran away first, Len Ruoxue said with some dissatisfaction. Ignore him. Let's go too. Freak said. Okay. Len Ruoxue stood up, stored the recliner in the bracelet, and pulled Freak off the arena. Charm and the other beasts automatically lined up behind Len Ruoxue. Icy also joined in the fun. Just like that, Len Ruoxue and Freak walked in front, and behind them were 7 small, heroic, spirited, exquisite, and beautiful cute little beasts. The 2 of them and the 7 beasts majestically returned to their seats. We're back, Len Ruoxue said happily. Ah. Little Snowy, you guys, Lan Ming really didn't know what to say. He only had one feeling in his heart, and that was valiant. Very valiant. Ha. Lass, you're so amazing. You won without even making a move yourself, old Zao said proudly after laughing hysterically, as though he was the winner. She's not worthy enough for me to make a move, Len Ruoxue said lightly while glancing at Sun Meilin. Humph. She might have shown mercy if Bai Ru hadn't deliberately left her hanging for half an hour. But since that woman was willing to be used by Sun Mei Lin, she had to be prepared to be unlucky. Leng Ruoxue wasn't someone who would be at the mercy of others. People had to pay the price for scheming against her. Yes, yes. Lass. It's my turn. Hee, I'm heading out, old Zhao said with a nod. Okay, be careful, Leng Ruoxue reminded. I will. Old Zhao gave Leng Ruoxue a reassuring gesture and walked toward the arenas with excitement. After old Zhao arrived on his arena, he actually mimicked Leng Ruoxue and directly revealed his beast. His opponent admitted defeat without a fight under the might of his dragon. Chapter 393, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 6, Ha, I won in no time. Old Zhao said with a smug smile after returning to his seat. Fast. Lan Ming said helplessly as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down his forehead. He could now tell that these people were each lazier than the other. They actually did it as simply as they wanted. Moreover, if it were anyone else, they would have also won if they had a dragon as their pet beast. Feng Jing and First Elder Feng were in the 4th and 5th groups respectively. After they went on stage, they actually learned from old Zhao and directly revealed their dragons. As soon as the dragons came out, their opponents admitted defeat depressedly. In the area where Leng Ruoxue and the others were. Ha! Well done. Old Zhao was pleased to see Feng Jing and First Elder Feng imitating him. Yeah. Feng Jing replied. In fact, Feng Jing's idea was mainly that his opponent had about the same strength as him, so fighting would also be a waste of time. After all, he didn't lack combat experience, so there was no need to spend time on this. 3 more groups of matches were carried out, and Ling Qingtian, Lin Liang, and Old Man went on stage one by one. The 3 of them won against their opponents and obtained victory without much effort because their opponents were weaker than them. Schwer, I'm the only one who hasn't gone on stage yet, Freak said aggrievedly, his starry eyes shining with tears. You're the finale. The important things are always kept for the end, Leng Ruoxue quickly comforted. Freak was in the 10th group, and his opponent was Sun Zhou City's Ni Tao. Although that fellow was very strong, he was definitely no match for Freak. Prior to this, there were also 2 mystics from Sun Zhou City who had fought against her grandfather and Old Man. However, these 2 people might be very strong to other mystics, but they were helpless in front of her grandfather and Old Man. The 3 of them were the strongest among the 5 mystics from Sun Zhou City who advanced to the top 100. From this, it was evident the mystics sent by Sun Zhou City's Mystic Association were really not of much quality. In fact, Leng Ruoxue had wronged Sun Zhou City's Mystic Association. It wasn't that the mystics of the branch weren't strong but that they were unlucky to meet Leng Ruoxue and the others, who were even stronger. After all, these mystics were definitely among the top 100 with their strength. Unfortunately, they just happened to meet these monsters such as Leng Ruoxue. This was probably Zhou Kun's miscalculation. He had never seen Leng Ruoxue's and the others' strength clearly. Half an hour later. It was finally Freak's turn. Schwer, let's go back after I finish. Freak stood up and said to Leng Ruoxue with a smile. His voice happened to be neither loud nor soft, but it reached Ni Tao's ears nearby. Ni Tao glared at Freak and said furiously, beat me first if you want to go back. Don't be anxious. It will go as you wish. Freak smiled gently, infuriating him to death. You. Come on. Ni Tao glared fiercely at Freak and strode onto the arena. Schwer, he's in a hurry to lose. I'm going. Freak kissed Leng Ruoxue gently on the lips and stepped onto the arena with a happy expression. On the arena, Freak used the same trick again. First, he tied Ni Tao into a dumpling with mystic power as thin as threads and then gave him a fierce beating. You're too despicable. You're doing this again. Come at me with real swords and spears if you dare, stammered Ni Tao, whose face had been beaten into a pig's head. He was really depressed. He had obviously been guarding against this man using this move for a long time, but he still couldn't defend himself. Boo-hoo, what was this? This man used this move every match, but it was still impossible to guard against. How was this possible? Even racking his brains, he couldn't understand. I don't need a sword or a spear. My fist is enough. Freak deliberately misinterpreted Ni Tao's words and punched him in the mouth to prevent him from talking nonsense. Aha! Ni Tao couldn't help crying out in pain after Freak threw this punch. Who knew that the moment he opened his mouth, his teeth would start chattering and then collectively leave him, their master, as they escaped desperately. Freak added some color to Ni Tao's face and then attacked other places. Freak on the arena waved his fists to his heart's content, and the audience in the audience seats turned their heads one after another, unable to bear looking at the man who was beaten to such a miserable state. At this moment, the only thought in their heads was that the violent man's violent tendencies seemed to have escalated again. On the main stage, Lan Lai looked at the violent scene on the arena with his mouth agape and was speechless for a long time. That man is so fierce, he couldn't help saying after returning to his senses. Get used to it, Su Nan said. At the same time, he prayed in his heart that he wouldn't meet this abnormal couple again. His body was too fragile, and he couldn't enjoy their intense torment. I wonder which is harder, his fist or a sacred artifact? Leng Wudi asked after a long silence. Sacred artifact? Are you joking? Lan Lai looked at his friend in disbelief. Perhaps a divine artifact? Leng Wudi said with a teasing smile on his face. How is that possible? Lan Lai was so excited that he almost jumped up. The best equipment on the boundless heaven continent now were sacred artifacts. Divine artifacts only existed in legends, and no one had ever seen one. Why not? The body of a mystic isn't made of paper. Do you really think ordinary fists can beat a mystic to such a state? Leng Wudi asked in return. Even so, you can't say that his fist is comparable to a sacred artifact, right? Isn't that a little too exaggerated? Lan Lai couldn't help saying. I didn't say that. I just said that I don't know if his fist or a sacred artifact is harder. Leng Wudi's handsome face was full of innocence. In fact, he just suspected that the man named Yi Chen might have practiced some kind of fist technique. Is there a difference? Lan Lai said gloomily. Did his ability to understand deteriorate? Why didn't he seem to understand what Leng Wudi was saying? Of course. Leng Wudi smiled. I want to challenge him, Sun Ting suddenly said, his body releasing an intense fighting spirit. Chapter 394, The Adorable Beasts Revealing Their Might, 7, Did I hear it right? You're already a mystic monarch, yet you actually want to challenge an elementary mystic. Won't people laugh to death if news of this gets out? Lan Lai said with great disapproval. I can control my strength to be the same level as him, Sun Ting said. He still needs to participate in the competition. It's not appropriate for you to challenge him now, Leng Wudi reminded. Alas. Although Sun Teng was from the Sun family, he was obsessed with martial arts. He wanted to challenge anyone with potential as long as he saw them. Unexpectedly, he was now actually targeting an elementary mystic. I can challenge him after his matches are over, Sun Teng said resolutely. It had been a long time since someone had aroused his intense fighting spirit, so he would definitely not let Yi Chen go. Then do you want to challenge Leng Ruoxue? Leng Wudi suggested. I don't challenge women, Sun Ting said coolly. He only liked that man. At this moment, Freak, who was happily bashing someone on the arena, didn't expect that he had already been targeted. On the arena, even the referee couldn't bear to continue watching Freak beating Ni Tao up. But the person himself didn't admit defeat. So with the principle of fair competition, of course he wouldn't call a stop. Moreover, he was afraid that if this violent man didn't have enough fun fighting, he would vent the excess violence on him. Boo-hoo! Therefore, he simply hid at the side and turned a blind eye. at the seats of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Little Snowy, little Chen Chen's fists are really hard. Lan Ming couldn't help sighing. He probably wouldn't be able to take it if those fists hit him. Okay, let's prepare to leave. Leng Ruoxue said happily. She also looked at Zhou Kun and his group, whose faces were green, beside them and laughed hysterically in her heart. Ha! Zhou Kun's heart must be aching to death. Ni Tao is his most powerful trump card. I'm afraid he won't even be able to participate in the additional round later. Ni Tao would have to officially withdraw from the competition unless there was a heaven-grade pill to treat his injuries. Zhou Kun and his group obviously saw it too. Unfortunately, they were helpless unless Ni Tao admitted defeat himself. Cousin, quickly get Ni Tao to admit defeat. Sun Meilin said anxiously. If Ni Tao was eliminated, the people of Sun Zhou City's Mystic Association could go home. Do you think I don't want to? He wants to hold on himself. What can I do? Zhou Kun roared furiously. In fact, he really wronged Ni Tao. It was really not that Ni Tao didn't want to admit defeat, but he had been beaten silly and forgot that he could admit defeat. On the arena, Freak received his dearest wife's gaze and increased the strength of his fists. After dozens of beatings, Ni Tao finally fainted. Seeing that Ni Tao had fainted, Zhou Kun and his group finally heaved a sigh of relief. Phew! Fortunately, he was still breathing. On the arena. Referee, he fainted. Freak reminded, his face full of innocence. Yes. The referee nodded, thinking to himself that he did see it and that he wasn't blind. Boo-hoo, it was really too terrifying. A mighty mystic was actually beaten into a bloody mess by this violent man. I still have to wait 10 minutes, right? Freak found a clean place and sat down directly on the arena. Yes, 10 minutes will pass in no time. The referee's eyes were a little evasive, and he didn't dare to look at Freak at all. 10 minutes later. The referee officially announced Freak's victory. After announcing the result, Freak impatiently returned to Leng Ruoxue's side. Schwer, I won. Freak said happily, his bright black eyes blinking non-stop. Yes, you must be tired. Do your hands hurt? Leng Ruoxue asked with concern, her face full of heartache. A little. Schwer, that guy's body is so hard. Freak complained. Leng Ruoxue and Freak's words made the people from Sun Zhou City beside them so angry that they almost vomited blood. They cursed in their heads at the same time. Fuck, is this how you bully people? You even asked if his hands hurt? And you still think that his body is hard? Could your hands hurt as much as Ni Tao? Could his body be harder than your fists? But they only dared to think these words and didn't dare to say them at all because Freak's violent image really penetrated too deeply into their hearts. They were too afraid. Little Lan Lan, can we go back? Leng Ruoxue turned her head to Lan Ming. Okay, let's go. Lan Ming said with a face full of black lines. Alas. These two people weren't only strong, but their ability to anger others was also top-notch. Leng Ruoxue turned her head to Zhou Kun and his group and said with seeming concern, President Zhou, we're going back first. You have to work hard. You don't have to worry. Zhou Kun said through gritted teeth, his heart full of hatred. Don't mention it. I'm just concerned about you. Leng Ruoxue ignored the anger of Zhou Kun and the others. Then Leng Ruoxue and the others left the competition venue in high spirits. The 7 beasts naturally followed behind everyone in a very orderly manner. They strode forward with smug expressions on their faces. After returning to their residence, Leng Ruoxue and the others immediately returned to their rooms to rest. When they emerged from their rooms again, it was dinner time. Leng Ruoxue and Freak came to the courtyard from their room and saw her grandfather and the others. Not only that, but there were 3 unfamiliar faces and Su Nan. The two of them looked at each other. They were puzzled, but neither of them said anything. Grandpa. Leng Ruoxue called out softly. Shuer, you're up, Ling Qingtian said and signaled his granddaughter with his eyes. Yes, Grandpa. Who are they? Leng Ruoxue asked straightforwardly. Little Snowy, let me introduce you. They are Lan Lai, Leng Wudi, and Sun Teng. You know Su Nan. Lan Ming braced himself and introduced them one by one. Boo-hoo, he knew that Leng Ruoxue didn't like to be disturbed, but this really had nothing to do with him. Oh, may I know why you are here? Leng Ruoxue said indifferently without much enthusiasm. They accompanied me to see my uncle, Lan Lai said quickly. He had already heard about their tempers from his uncle, so he knew from Leng Ruoxue's attitude that they weren't welcomed. Boo-hoo, he was a handsome youth who was loved by everyone. How did he become an annoying fly in Leng Ruoxue's eyes? He couldn't understand. Chapter 395, The Might of a Sneeze, 1. Oh, in that case, we won't disturb your uncle and nephew reunion. Grandpa, let's go for a walk. Don't be a third wheel, Leng Ruoxue suggested to Ling Qingtian. Okay. Ling Qingtian nodded in agreement, but he couldn't help laughing in his head. Hee, Shuer is really too evil. She's pretending to be confused even though she knows that these people are looking for us. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue and the others left their residence tacitly. Ah. They really left. Lan Lai said gloomily. These people really have character. Hee, I like it. It seems like our charm is useless against them. Leng Wudi sighed. This was the first time in his life that he had been ignored like this. Alas. Then what should we do? Su Nan asked angrily. Boo-hoo, he must have been implicated by these three people. Uncle? Lan Lai looked at Lan Ming pleadingly. Don't look at me. I told you long ago. Why don't you go back first? Lan Ming said helplessly. These aristocratic young masters born with golden spoons had finally kicked an iron plate this time. He couldn't help gloating. All right. Let's go back first. Leng Wudi said understandingly. In fact, he also knew that it was a little rude for them to come uninvited. Leng Ruoxue and the others walked on the streets, looking left and right, feeling especially happy. Lass, where are we going? I'm hungry, old Zhao grumbled after walking for a while. To eat. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Where are we going to eat? Old Zhao's face was full of curiosity. He didn't think that the dishes from any restaurant could match up to what they made themselves. But it was also good to change their taste occasionally. Carefree Pavilion. The dishes there are passable, but they're a little expensive, Leng Ruoxue said with some dissatisfaction. The Mystic Association headquarters was really too good at making money. Shuer, the dishes in Carefree Pavilion are the best on the entire Boundless Heaven continent, Empty couldn't help saying. That's because you're too ignorant. Leng Ruoxue rolled her eyes in disapproval. Ah. Empty was depressed. All right. He admitted that the dishes of Carefree Pavilion were not as delicious as the ones made by Leng Ruoxue and the others. But they were really the best on the Boundless Heaven continent. They soon arrived at Carefree Pavilion. Guests, please come in. The waiter welcomed Leng Ruoxue and the others warmly as soon as they entered the restaurant. Do you have a private room? Leng Ruoxue asked lightly. Yes, please follow me, the waiter said carefully. Then he led Leng Ruoxue and the others to the second floor. After entering the private room, everyone found their seats and ordered their dishes. Soon, the dishes were served. Don't let anyone disturb us, Leng Ruoxue ordered the waiter. She hated being disturbed when she was eating. Don't worry, Mississippi. I understand, the waiter said very respectfully and left the room. After the waiter left, Empty appeared. Shuer, you've been in the limelight in the competition recently. You're now famous in Carefree City, Empty teased while eating. I like to keep a low profile. Being in the limelight isn't my style, Leng Ruoxue said gloomily. I really didn't mean to be in the limelight. Boo-hoo. Lass. We're in the limelight, but we've also offended many people. We have to be more careful in the future, old Zhao reminded. That's right. Besides Sun Meilin and Zhou Kuan, we have to be wary of the Bai family now. Ling Qingtian nodded. Shuer had tortured the Bai family's Bai Ru very badly on the arena, so the Bai family probably wouldn't let her go. You don't have to be afraid of the Bai family. It's just a family under the Sun family, not worth mentioning, Empty said nonchalantly. In fact, among the many families on the boundless heaven continent, the Leng family and the Lan family were the strongest at present. As for the Sun family, it was already slowly showing signs of decline. Little girl, Leng Wudi is the future patriarch of the Leng family. He's already here. What do you intend to do? Old man asked worriedly. He had already tied himself to Leng Ruoxue. What would happen to them if Leng Ruoxue acknowledged the Leng family as her family and went to it? The Leng family is the Leng family, and I am me. We just have the same surname, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. At the same time, it was to reassure old man and Feng Jing that she had no intention of returning to the Leng family at all. Such a super family was too complicated, and she didn't want to go to that muddy water. Hearing this, old man was relieved. But his gaze couldn't help turning to Ling Qingtian. Why are you looking at me? Our Shuer is the head of the family. Ling Qingtian was determined to stand on his precious granddaughter's side. Although the Leng family was their main family, to be honest, his great-grandfather, grandfather, and father were long gone from this world. The Leng family on the boundless heaven continent had long broken contact with them, so he really didn't have a strong sense of belonging to that powerful Leng family. Moreover, he didn't think that they needed to rely on a certain family to be able to establish themselves on the boundless heaven continent. Furthermore, if they really found the Leng family, they would probably be regarded as people who played up to people of power and influence. The three of them were very proud people, so of course they wouldn't do something like that. Old man, don't worry. I won't leave you behind, Leng Ruoxue said clearly. She was really helpless against old man's imagination, but she could understand. Little girl, I'm not worried. Want to leave us behind? Dream on. Old man roared, his face slightly red. He was a little embarrassed that his thoughts had been seen through. Ha! You old thing, you only know how to let your imagination run wild all day. Learn from me and don't think about anything. Wherever the girl goes, I'll go with her. How good is that? Old Zhao laughed boisterously. You don't have to let your imagination run wild. I'll tell you clearly now that I have nothing to do with the Leng family of the boundless heaven continent. My only relatives are Grandpa, Big Brother, and everyone here. Leng Ruoxue said very seriously and with certainty. Chapter 396, The Might of a Sneeze, 2, Ruoxue. Actually, there are really a lot of disputes in big families. Feng Jing sighed. Although he had been dedicated to cultivation in the past, he was someone who had been the head of a family after all. So he knew very well how complicated families were. Moreover, he had long been accustomed to a carefree life with Leng Ruoxue and the others during this period of time. If he really belonged to a particular family, he wouldn't be able to adapt. I know. How could Leng Ruoxue not know? Before her rebirth, she was also a pawn of a large family and worked hard for the family. This simple and carefree life was what she yearned for after her rebirth. So she was determined not to return to a complicated family. She had no sense of belonging no matter how strong that family was. To her, the Leng family of the boundless heaven continent could at most be considered distant relatives with a little blood relationship with her, and she was at most a proud and poor relative. So she really didn't want to hug other people's thighs to prevent others from giving alms to them like they were beggars. Everyone chatted as they ate. After eating, they returned to their residence happily. You're finally willing to come back. Lan Ming complained as he looked at everyone resentfully in the courtyard. Ah. Where did this resentful man come from? Lass, did we go to the wrong place? Old Zao asked exaggeratedly. We didn't go to the wrong place. He probably went to the wrong place, Leng Ruoxue teased. Boo-hoo. Little Snowy, you make me so sad, Lan Ming complained with tears in his eyes. Freak, I'm tired. Let's go back to our room. Leng Ruoxue said to Freak, ignoring Lan Ming's self-directed act. Okay. Freak nodded and returned to the room with Leng Ruoxue. After Leng Ruoxue and Freak returned to their room, Ling Qingtian and the others also returned to their rooms. In the blink of an eye, only Lan Ming was left in the yard. Boo-hoo. Why are these people so unsympathetic? Lan Ming murmured to himself while looking up at the sky. He was so depressed. Boo-hoo. They were too evil. His mood was as gloomy as this moonless night. You bad people. The next day, when Leng Ruoxue and the others came out from their rooms, they saw Lan Ming standing in a daze in the courtyard like a statue. Huh? Did you become a stone statue? Old Zao nudged Lan Ming's body with his hand, his face full of excitement. Clearly, he had no sympathy. Did he stand outside all night? Feng Jing asked curiously. Probably not, First Elder Feng guessed. Just as everyone was discussing Lan Ming, a bird flew out of nowhere, and then they heard a plop. The bird actually let out a pile of feces. Moreover, it happened to land on Lan Ming's head. Aha! Even a bird is bullying me. The tragic Lan Ming screamed at the sky, his heart bleeding. Everyone was stunned, and then they burst into laughter. Ha! This is too funny. Old Zao laughed the most exaggeratedly, almost rolling on the ground. Thump! Lan Ming fell to the ground stiffly. Ha! You've been standing here for too long. The image of the stunningly beautiful man is all destroyed now. Leng Ruoxue teased happily. Why was this Lan Ming becoming more and more funny? He was so dignified and imposing the first time she saw him. Why was he now? You bullied me, and the bird bullied me. Boo-hoo, Lan Ming wanted to cry but had no tears. His limbs were a little stiff because he had been standing for too long. The only thing he could move normally was his mouth and eyes. Boo-hoo. And his image. His noble and perfect image had disappeared forever since he got to know these people. We didn't bully you. Leng Ruoxue took out a pill and threw it into Lan Ming's mouth. You bullied me a lot. Lan Ming complained. After taking the pill, he stretched his limbs and got up from the ground. I'm going to take a bath, Lan Ming ran back to his room in a hurry. Ha! Leng Ruoxue looked at Lan Ming's fleeing back and smiled happily. Sure, let's make breakfast. We have to go to the competition later, Ling Qingtian reminded. Leng Ruoxue nodded, and everyone got busy. After breakfast was ready, Lan Ming emerged from his room after a bath and found a chair to sit down on. Don't you have to draw lots first? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously as she looked at Lan Ming, who was sitting down to eat breakfast. I'm hungry. Lan Ming drank his porridge without looking up. What a heartless little girl. I haven't eaten anything all night, yet she still wants to chase me away. Boo-hoo. Oh. Leng Ruoxue answered softly and continued eating. After breakfast, everyone went to the competition venue. After reaching the arena, Lan Ming went to draw lots, while Leng Ruoxue and the others went directly to their seats. They had sat down when the people from the Sunzhou City branch all came. You're really early today. Sun Meilin said, her beautiful eyes flashing with anger. We didn't come early. You came late. Did the additional round yesterday go smoothly? Leng Ruoxue said with great concern. You don't have to worry about that. Sun Meilin roared furiously. As soon as she thought about yesterday, she wanted to kill people. She didn't know what methods that ugly man used, but even a heaven-grade pill couldn't treat Ni Tao's injuries, causing him to have no choice but to withdraw from the competition early. It was really infuriating. It seems like yesterday's matches didn't go smoothly. Why else would Miss Sun be so angry? Ah! By the way, I have to remind you to take note of your image. The young master of the Leng family is watching from the main stage. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile, her words full of concern. People who didn't know would definitely think that they were good friends. Moreover, she still didn't know that Ni Tao's injuries hadn't improved after taking a heaven-grade pill. You, just take care of yourself. Sun Meilin almost wanted to shout again, but she suddenly remembered Leng Ruoxue's words and forcefully endured it. Humph. Although this ugly monster was very annoying, her words were very reasonable, so she endured it for the sake of the Leng family's young madam position. Anyway, in her eyes, Leng Ruoxue was no different from a dead person. Chapter 397, The Might of a Sneeze, 3. Thank you for your concern, Leng Ruoxue said with a faint smile on her face. Little Snowy, I want to sneeze. Icy, who was lying on Leng Ruoxue's shoulder, yawned again. As soon as Icy spoke, the people from Sun Zhou City collectively dodged far away while looking at the palm-sized puppy with vigilance. Not only could this puppy crush sacred artifacts with his claws, but his sneeze was also deeply rooted in their hearts, so it was best to stay away from him. This was their common thought at this moment. Do you have a cold? Little Icy, sneeze if you want. But you can't sneeze at your own people. Leng Ruoxue coaxed like she was coaxing a child while glancing at the people from Sun Zhou City. This was too despicable. Wasn't it obvious that she was telling the puppy to sneeze at them? Sun Zhou City's mystic was so anxious that they were about to cry. Boo-hoo. You can't do this. Okay, I'll listen to little Snowy. Icy nodded obediently, his beautiful ice blue eyes revealing a teasing expression. He liked little Snowy so much. Icy turned his head to where the people from Sun Zhou City were sitting, opened his mouth, and looked at them mockingly. The mystics of Sun Zhou City glared at Icy cautiously as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Sun Meilin was so scared that her legs went weak, and she couldn't run away even if she wanted to. The blow that happened last time was really too great. Fortunately, President Wu had suppressed it, and no one dared to say anything else, so Leng Wudi and the others didn't know about her embarrassing incident that time. But if the same thing happened again, and Leng Wudi happened to witness it with his own eyes, then she wouldn't be able to marry into the Leng family as his wife anymore. Therefore, she would never allow the same thing to happen again. Unfortunately, would things go as she wished? Icy had been in a deep sleep for thousands of years, and he had a personality that desired to see the world in chaos. Moreover, he didn't like her, so all these factors added up destined her tragedy. You, don't do anything rash, or the Sun family won't let you go, Sun Meilin stammered and forced herself to threaten. Little Snowy, I'm being threatened again. Icy said aggrievedly, his blue eyes welling up with tears. Humph. What is the Sun family? How dare she use the Sun family to threaten me? Icy was angry, and the consequences were serious. Ah. That's too much. How can you threaten our cute Icy? Leng Ruoxue said indignantly. That's right. Little Icy, someone else is at fault. Old Zao added oil to the fire, laughing in his heart. Little Icy is also so devious. That's right. I have a cold, and sneezing is instinct. I can't control it. How can you threaten me because of this? Boo-hoo. Little Icy is too aggrieved. And then Icy actually sneezed 3 times in a row to prove his helplessness. As a result, none of Sun Zhou City's people were spared. They all flew over the railing and made the most intimate contact with the inner area. Everyone present was originally waiting for the competition to begin, but they were surprised to see more than a dozen people fall into the inner area. But the audience who understood the situation quickly reacted and laughed loudly with joy. The part of the audience who didn't know the inside story couldn't help laughing after asking around. On the main stage, Lon Lai laughed until tears welled up in his eyes. He said with a smile, "Isn't the position of Sunzhou City's people good? Why did they all run into the inner arena to watch the battles? The competition hasn't even begun, so why are they so anxious?" Su Nan wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and thought, Sunzhou City's people probably provoked that perverted puppy of Leng Ruoxue again. Alas! Why didn't I have such an awesome beast? Sun Ting rolled his eyes at Lon Lai and said expressionlessly, "What's with your eyes? They're about to fall out." "Ha! Your younger sister is totally exposed," Lon Lai reminded happily. "She's not my younger sister," Sun Ting reminded. Although they had the same father, his mother only gave birth to him, so he wouldn't recognize her as his sister. "Wudi, your fiancé is exposed." Lon Lai turned his head and teased Leng Wudi. "Are you bored?" Leng Wudi said coldly. He had never admitted that that woman was his fiancée. Lon Lai nodded and said very seriously, "How do you know?" "I'm quite bored." "Okay. I'll send a message to Uncle Lon later saying that you're bored," Leng Wudi said. No. I was wrong," Lon Lai pleaded quickly. Where Leng Ruoxue and the others were. After seeing the condition of Sun Meilin and her group, they smiled happily. "Little Icy, you're really sick," Old Zao said worriedly after laughing enough, feeling very happy. "Yes, I didn't do it on purpose. They were too light." Icy nodded seriously with some guilt on his face. Lan Ming, who had just returned from drawing lots, happened to hear Icy's words. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead. Too light. Those were mystics. Does this little guy think that mystics are kites? That he could blow them away with a sneeze? Damn it. You've gone too far. Zhou Kun returned and roared at Leng Ruoxue and the others. How did we go too far? Have you never sneezed, President Zhou? Leng Ruoxue said innocently. Of course I've sneezed before, but my sneeze can't spray mystics out, Zhou Kun said angrily. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Oh, that can only mean that your sneeze is too weak, President Zhou. You have to continue working hard. Leng Ruoxue encouraged with a very sincere expression on her face. Zhou Kun was so angry that he couldn't say anything. At the same time, a voice sounded behind him. President, we're back. The dozen or so people whom the sneeze sprayed into the inner area supported each other and stood behind Zhou Kun while limping. Moreover, each of them stared at Icy with fear, as if they were afraid that Icy would continue to sneeze. Don't be scared. I just caught a cold. I won't sneeze anymore. I'll try my best to bear with it, Icy comforted very kindly. Chapter 398, The Might of a Sneeze, 4, You don't have to bear with it. Just don't sneeze at us again, one of them said hurriedly. I'll try my best. Icy said shyly with an embarrassed expression on his face. Leng Ruoxue saw that the host was already on stage and about to speak, so she suppressed her smile and said to Zhou Kun and the others, the competition is about to begin. Don't block my view. Yes. All the mystics from Sunzhou City limped to their seats with trembling bodies. They had fallen quite heavily just now. They had finally returned to their seats, but they still had to suffer such mental torture. Boo-hoo. Where's Meilin? Zhou Kun asked when he didn't see Sun Meilin. Miss Sun was taken away by her bodyguards, a mystic explained. The little princess of the Sun family had been humiliated again and in front of the young master of the Leng family. Of course, it was impossible for her to return. Moreover, Sun Meilin probably wouldn't participate in the remaining rounds. Stay here obediently. I'll go see her. Zhou Kun turned and left. Not long after he left, the host's voice sounded on the stage, and the matches began. Today's matches were divided into 9 groups, and Len Ruoxue and the others were almost all gathered in the first 5 groups. In other words, 1 or 2 people would be participating in the matches of the first 5 groups. But what was unbelievable was that when it was their turn to go on stage, their opponents actually didn't even want to fight with them and directly admitted defeat. The following few days were the same. When they went on stage, their opponents would directly admit defeat no matter how strong their opponents were. At the residence of Len Ruoxue and the others, everyone was gathered in the living room, discussing the situation over the past few days. Little Lon Lon, what's going on? Could this be Zhou Kun and the others' strategy again? Old Zhao asked in bewilderment. For some reason, advancing too easily made him feel a little uneasy. I don't know either. This has never happened before, Lan Ming said gloomily. In the past few days, many presidents of Mystic Association branches had congratulated him because Len Ruoxue and the others had already entered the top 20. Mystics who could enter the top 20 had the chance to be accepted as disciples by the elders of the headquarters. This was a great thing for mystics. But he knew that Len Ruoxue and the others didn't care about this at all. I still say the same thing. Well, deal with whatever comes. You're thinking too much, Len Ruoxue said calmly as she leaned in Freak's arms. Shuer is right. It's useless to think about this now. I think those people think they're not our match, so they want to preserve their strength to prepare for the additional round with all their might, Ling Qingtian guessed. Little Lon Lon, tell me more about how the final 20 will compete. Len Ruoxue said. After advancing to the top 20, there would also be a 3-day break. Moreover, the rules of the competition would be different from the previous rounds. The 20 of you will be divided into 5 groups. Each group will have 4 people to carry out a round-robin match every day. After the round-robin is over, the 2 with the highest points will enter the finals, Lan Ming explained. Why is it so troublesome? Len Ruoxue said speechlessly. It was another round-robin. Fortunately, it was only groups of 4. She would be depressed to death if it was a 20-people round-robin. This is also for the fairness of the competition. They won't let any talent go to waste, Lan Ming said. In fact, he felt that the schedule of the competition was quite reasonable. Unfortunately, the little girl found it too troublesome. Fair? Why don't I see it? Len Ruoxue said mockingly. Would Sun Meilin directly enter the top 20 if it was really fair? She originally thought that that woman wouldn't dare to show her face openly after losing her face twice. But she unexpectedly appeared shamelessly. Moreover, she replaced a mystic who voluntarily withdrew from the competition, and that mystic happened to be one of the top 20. Lan Ming really didn't know what to say. He seemed to be often at a loss for words after getting to know Len Ruoxue and the others. Little Lon Lon, I can't tolerate sand in my eyes, so don't put in good words for the headquarters, Len Ruoxue said. She had a bad impression of the headquarters to begin with, and now her impression of the headquarters could be said to be even worse because of Sun Meilin. Anyway, she was only willing to participate in the competition for the rewards, so she really didn't take those rotten things from the Mystic Association headquarters to heart. Alas! Lan Ming sighed heavily. Shuer, guess which one of us Sun Meilin will be grouped with? Old Zhao hurriedly tried to smooth things over when he saw that the atmosphere was a little off. It definitely won't be me. Grandpa Lin, and Old Man have a pretty good chance, Len Ruoxue guessed. Sun Meilin had to be picky when picking those she thought were pushovers. Probably in Sun Meilin's eyes, although her grandfather and the other 2 were relatively strong, they would be easier to deal with, so it was very possible that Sun Meilin would choose one of the 3 to be her opponent. Why not me? Aren't I the weakest among us? Old Zhao asked curiously. In fact, he really hoped to meet that annoying woman in the group round robin. He had to use his giant dragons but to flatten her for all her smugness. She won't choose an opponent with a dragon, Len Ruoxue said understandingly. Ordinary beasts would find it difficult to resist the might of a dragon unless Sun Meilin could possess a transcendent divine beast. They are too gutless. I'm not afraid of those dragons, Icy interrupted. The fear of those humans toward the dragons made him very displeased. One had to know that he was stronger than those dragons. Ah! Little Icy is the best, Len Ruoxue coaxed as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. She had heard Feng Zhan mention that they were both king divine beasts, but the Qilins were indeed a little stronger than them, even though Feng Zhan's face was very unconvinced when he said it. Little Snowy has good taste. But our race is few in number. We will still be at a disadvantage if we fight in groups, Icy said impartially. Qilins, dragons, phoenixes, and white tigers were the 4 great king divine beasts. Although Qilins were stronger than the other 3 races, it was a pity that their race's reproductive ability was very poor, while the other 3 races were very fertile. Ah, this was absolutely the greatest sorrow of Qilins. Chapter 399, Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 1. There are too few of your race? How many are there? Old Zao asked curiously. If every puppy in their race is so powerful. If we could contract a few, he began to daydream. At present, I'm the only one in this world. I'm not sure about other places, so don't you have any ideas about our race? My race won't contract with humans easily, Icy reminded old Zao after seeing through his thoughts. Ah! Old Zao was a little embarrassed. Could this puppy read minds too? Ha! Len Ruoxue looked at old Zao and couldn't help laughing. Old Zao's thoughts were written all over his face. Who couldn't tell? Lass, you're laughing at me. Old Zao pouted with some displeasure. How am I? I'm laughing at Icy for being too smart. Len Ruoxue explained with a light smile. Alright, you're an old man. Why are you like a child? Ling Qingtian couldn't bear watching anymore. Old Zao sulked and stopped talking. Schwer, the competition will begin again the day after tomorrow. Let's all have a good rest for the next 2 days. Ling Qingtian looked at his granddaughter. The matches 2 days later would definitely not be as relaxed as before. Moreover, they didn't know what Zhou Kun and his group would do again, so they had to be more careful both in the open and in the dark. Yes, I've decided to use it all to sleep for the next 2 days. Don't disturb me, Len Ruoxue said to everyone. In fact, she mainly said it to Lan Ming. Sleep? Do you want to be a pig? Lan Ming said in disbelief with several black lines hanging on his forehead. How do you know? Len Ruoxue asked with a smile as if he had guessed correctly. You want to sleep for 2 days. What are you if you're not a pig? Lan Ming was a little speechless. This girl really can sleep. But why aren't Ling Qingtian and the others surprised at all? Are they used to it? His imagination ran wild. Aren't you ignorant? I cultivate in my sleep. Len Ruoxue said calmly. Cultivate in your sleep? Do you think you're a beast? Lan Ming couldn't help asking. He really didn't know what to say about Len Ruoxue's line of thought. Why was this girl different from others? Beasts can, so naturally I can too. Len Ruoxue smiled mischievously. That's right. You can do a lot of things while sleeping, Icy said. His greatest hobby was sleeping. I can't win against you all. I admit defeat, Lan Ming said weakly. Alas. Recently, he seemed to be bullied by this puppy all the time, but he didn't dare to resist at all. Boo-hoo. He really couldn't afford to offend this perverted puppy. Ha! Take your time chatting. I'm going to bed. Len Ruoxue dragged Freak back to their room. After returning to their room, Len Ruoxue brought Freak and Icy into the bracelet with a thought. Master. Icy pounced toward Empty as soon as he entered the bracelet. Ha, I see, you're here. Empty had been staying in the space for the past few days and cultivating every day. So his injuries were much better, and his body had become more condensed. At least Icy wouldn't pass through his body anymore. Although it was still difficult to carry Icy, he was already very happy. Hee hee. Schwerer is really my benefactor. Master. Icy rubbed against Empty's body happily. He was even happier that his master's injuries had improved. Empty, what are you doing? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She thought Empty was cultivating, but what was going on? Why were all her beasts looking at her with hidden bitterness, their eyes even faintly moist? I'm conducting special training for your beasts. They are too weak. Empty said matter-of-factly, not feeling like he was overstepping his bounds at all. Master. Charm and the other beasts rushed into Leng Ruoxue's arms after hearing what Empty said. They acted coquettishly and complained to her. The scene was very spectacular. Don't spoil them anymore, Empty reminded. Empty, why don't you cultivate properly? Leng Ruoxue said implicitly as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. She originally didn't want Empty to know about this space, but after discussing it with Freak, she decided to tell him. After all, if Empty continued to follow her while they kept this secret from him, it would be very inconvenient for them to enter the space. So she only had 2 choices. She could either tell him or forbid him from following. It was obviously impossible to forbid him from following, so she had to tell him. It's tiring to cultivate all the time. Of course, you have to relax appropriately during cultivation. Empty said with a smile. Ah. Is your method of relaxation to give special training to my beasts? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Thousands of silver wolves, phoenixes, some dragons, Fengzhan, Charm, and other beasts that had yet to be contracted all joined the special training team, but she, the master, didn't know at all. Master, actually, we did it willingly, Charm, who knew his master's thoughts very well, said honestly. They wanted to give their master a surprise. But this man's training method was really too terrifying, and they couldn't take it anymore, so they pretended to be pitiful and complained to her. Schwerer, don't worry and leave them to me. They are too weak. I guarantee that I will raise their strength to a higher level in the shortest time possible, Empty said confidently. Alas! How many years had it been since he had such passion? He finally found some of the feelings from back then. Empty, it depends on their will. Leng Ruoxue didn't want to force her beasts. Do you still want to protect your master? Empty questioned loudly. He knew that this was the weakness of these little beasts. Yes, the beasts said in unison. I want to protect Mommy too. A childish voice rang out. Yes, this kitten of yours is not bad. Empty looked at the fiery red kitten with rich spiritual energy and praised him. Chapter 400, Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 2. Empty, he can't undergo special training. He's not a beast. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly picked up Little Fire. Oh. It's obviously a cat. Empty said doubtfully. His bright starry eyes kept looking at the little red cat, wanting to find some clues from him. Master, he's the spirit of a heavenly material and earthly treasure. Icy rolled his eyes. Alas! Master's eyesight has regressed. Ah! Really? Empty looked at the small red kitten curiously, his handsome face full of surprise. Wasn't this girl's luck a little too good? I'm a cat. Meow. Meow. Little Fire protested. He even deliberately meowed twice to prove that he was a real cat. Little Fire, you're not a cat. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. She didn't know when Little Fire had started treating himself as a cat. Alas! She was really helpless against his persistence. If Mommy says so. Little Fire said aggrievedly, his big pink eyes brimming with tears. Ha, Schwer, your beasts are all very interesting. Empty couldn't help laughing. He finally realized that these beasts of Schwer, apart from being scheming, also liked to pretend to be pitiful in front of their master. Yes. Leng Ruoxua looked at Little Fire with a slight headache. This little fellow actually learned this move. Alas! Was she destined to be eaten up by her beasts? And that damn freak. Empty, since they want you to conduct special training, then teach them. But you have to show mercy. Leng Ruoxua reminded. Don't worry. I will show mercy, Empty said with a smile. Leng Ruoxua nodded and then pulled Freak into the purple bamboo house. 2 days later. Leng Qingtian and the others gathered in the courtyard. Little Lon Lon, can you stop pacing around? Old Zao couldn't take it anymore. He was about to faint from Lan Ming spinning around. Why aren't Little Snowy and the others out yet? It's almost time, Lan Ming said anxiously. The group round robin would officially begin today. They should have arrived at the venue earlier, but that girl actually hadn't come out yet even though the time for the matches was approaching. Is she still not awake? He couldn't help guessing. In fact, he originally wanted to wake them up, but these people all stopped him from going. They said that he couldn't barge into a girl's room as a man. Boo-hoo. They were thinking too much. He just wanted to call from the door. Calm down. Schwer has a sense of propriety. She won't be too late, Ling Qingtian said. Sigh. All right then. Let's wait another 10 minutes. Well, go to the competition venue first if they're not out yet. Otherwise, someone might think we've given up, Lan Ming said helplessly with a heavy sigh. There's no need to wait. We're out. Leng Ruoxua's voice sounded from behind everyone. Little ancestor, you're finally out. Lan Ming sighed in relief. Little Lan Lan, calm down, Leng Ruoxua teased. Grandpa, this is for you, Leng Ruoxua said to Leng Qingtian and the others and handed each of them a small bamboo tube. The bamboo tubes were small and exquisite, translucent like white jade, and looked very beautiful. Lin Liang opened the bamboo tube and took out a needle as thin as a cow's hair. Ruoxua, what is this? He asked in puzzlement. This needle was about 5 centimeters long, transparent, thin, and soft. This small bamboo tube actually contained nearly 10,000 such tiny needles. Hidden weapon. Leng Ruoxua said lightly. How do we use this? Feng Jing asked with interest. He didn't expect Ruoxua to disappear for 2 days just to refine hidden weapons. You can usually hang this bamboo tube on your body as an ornament, and you can use it as a hidden weapon at critical moments. Do you see this button? As long as you press it, hundreds of needles will be shot out in succession, which will definitely turn the enemy into a porcupine. Moreover, the needles are coated with poison, so you have to use it carefully. Leng Ruoxua pointed at an inconspicuous little bump at the bottom of the bamboo tube. Ah! So powerful. Leng Qingtian and the others were surprised. These were really too useful for them. In fact, no matter what equipment it was, they should not seek the best but only what was most suitable for them. These bamboo tubes looked very simple, but they were convenient for them and wouldn't attract too much attention. Little Snowy, what about mine? Lan Ming said bitterly while looking at the bamboo tubes in everyone's hands covetously. He liked bamboo the most, so he liked the bamboo tubes in Leng Ruoxua's hands just now. But what he didn't expect was that these small bamboo tubes could actually fire hidden weapons. It was really too rare. You are already a mystic monarch, so there's no need for you to have one, Leng Ruoxua said. She had only refined hidden weapons for the upcoming matches to give everyone an additional guarantee, so she had never considered Lan Ming. I need one too. Little Snowy, you can't favor one over the other. Lan Ming said aggrievedly with a long face. Why didn't she give him one when everyone else had one? Boo-hoo. I'll give you mine. Len Ruoxue said helplessly. She took out the bamboo tube she had prepared for herself and handed it to Lan Ming. Alas! Lan Ming must have been swapped. Hee, little Snowy, I know you're the best. Lan Ming didn't stand on ceremony at all. He happily took the bamboo tube Len Ruoxue handed him and placed it directly on his waist. Little Lan, don't use it recklessly. There's no antidote for the poison on the needles, Len Ruoxue reminded. Ah. No antidote. Then what if? Lan Ming only spoke halfway before staring at Len Ruoxue fiercely. That person will definitely die, so don't use it lightly unless it concerns your life and death, Len Ruoxue said. Oh. I understand. I won't use it recklessly, Lan Ming said fearfully. It was a poison that would definitely kill. Whoever got hit would be unlucky. Ruoxue, I took a needle just now. Will I be okay? Lin Liang asked fearfully. Boo-hoo. Why didn't the naughty girl say so earlier? It's okay. The poison won't act unless it enters the body, Len Ruoxue comforted. Chapter 401, Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 3, Phew, that's good. Lin Liang was relieved. Little Snowy, let's go. Lan Ming suggested. Let's go. Len Ruoxue nodded slightly. Everyone left their residence and headed straight for the competition venue. After entering the competition venue, Lan Ming went to draw lots as usual, and Len Ruoxue and the others naturally went to their seats to wait for him. Wow, there are even more people today, old Zhao said excitedly after sitting down. The competition hadn't yet officially begun, but the audience seats were already full. Moreover, some of the spectators were not even sitting but actually standing, and the atmosphere in the venue was abnormally fiery. What strange country bumpkins. Are these few people enough to scare you? There will be more people when the finals of the top 10 are held. An arrogant voice sounded in their ears. Everyone knew who the owner of the voice was without even looking up, so they naturally chose to ignore it. Old Zhao lowered his head and whispered into Icy's little ear, "Little Icy, sneeze a few more times." Icy only smiled mischievously and didn't say anything. Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't pretend to be deaf and mute, Sun Meilin roared angrily. Len Ruoxue raised her head doubtfully and glanced at Sun Meilin, only to find that there were two tall and burly men beside her. The two burly men had stern faces and looked condescending. Their auras were sharp and oppressive, so it was obvious at a glance that they were not weak. No wonder Sun Meilin dares to provoke us again. She has backing now. They should be bodyguards. Little Icy, what is the level of those two? Len Ruoxue asked softly curiously. Although she could tell that they weren't weak, she couldn't tell the exact level. After all, her current strength was too low. Just two mystic sovereigns, Icy said disdainfully. Two mere mystic sovereigns want to put on airs in front of me. How unforgivable. The Sun family is actually using mystic sovereigns as Sun Meilin's bodyguards. How promising. Len Ruoxue said mockingly. The status of mystic sovereigns on the boundless heaven continent was extremely high, second only to mystic supremacies. So she didn't understand very well why mystic sovereign powerhouses actually lowered themselves to be bodyguards for the daughter of an aristocratic family. It was really getting worse and worse. If little Snowy doesn't like them, it'll make them disappear, Icy said with a naughty smile. After speaking, he actually sneezed more than 10 times in a row and blew the unprepared Sun Meilin, the two mystic sovereigns, and the people of Sun Zhou City into the inner area again. Their situation this time was obviously more miserable than the last time. Not only were they stacked on all fours, but even their clothes broke into pieces. The competition venue immediately fell silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. This. After a while, someone took the lead in laughing. Immediately, thunderous laughter resounded in the competition venue. Ha! Old Zao was laughing so hard in his seat that he was swaying back and forth. He would have rolled on the ground if it wasn't for the lack of space. Leng Qingtian and the others also smiled happily, just not as exaggerated as old Zao. Leng Ruoxua looked at Icy with a face full of black lines, cold sweat flowing down her heart. Ah! Little Icy is really too evil. But it was also Sun Meilin's fault for not having a good memory. As the saying went, only make the same mistake twice. But Sun Meilin obviously didn't understand the truth that things shouldn't be done 3 times. She thought that she could be smug again with 2 mystic sovereigns backing her up. Great, it was another tragedy. Alas. To be honest, she felt some pity for Sun Meilin because, this time, Sun Meilin. Alas. Little Snowy, embark. Lan Ming's expression was a little strange as he appeared in front of Leng Ruoxua and the others. His heart was racing. These people really don't stop. Why does something happen every time I draw lots for them? Think about it. What kind of feeling would it be if more than a dozen naked people suddenly fell from the sky while you were drawing lots? It was really shocking. At the time, they were all dumbfounded. Hee, little Lan Lan, what happened just now was exciting, wasn't it? Old Zao said wretchedly with a smug face. Little Lan Lan must have seen it more clearly in the inner area. Amazing. Zhou Kun's face turned green. Moreover, Lan Ming couldn't say it. TCH, what's there to be shy about? It's just a few naked people. Is there a need for that reaction? Everyone saw it. But I understand. I understand. Old Zao said understandingly. Lan Ming was speechless. Old Zao was also very powerful. Little Icy, you're really too amazing. Even mystic sovereigns can't resist your sneeze. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Lan Ming's forehead. Ah! He really didn't know what breed this puppy was. This puppy was actually so powerful. In the future, he wouldn't dare to look down on this puppy even more. Boo-hoo! This puppy was really too terrifying. Among the people present, there were many who had the same thoughts as Lan Ming. Some people had even secretly decided that they had to take a detour when they saw this puppy in the future to avoid conflict with him. On the main stage, Lan Lai was stunned. He couldn't laugh this time. It was not that he didn't want to laugh, but he was thinking about Leng Ruoxua's puppy. Oh! This puppy is really too amazing. Boo-hoo! He also wanted a beast that was so awesome that it could blow away mystic sovereigns with just a few sneezes. If he had such a beast, his old man could forget about bullying him in the future. Hee, thinking of this, he couldn't help fantasizing. How rare that you didn't laugh at something so funny. Leng Wudi said lightly, his handsome face full of teasing. I'm thinking about something, Lan Lai said very seriously. Don't tell me you want to get such a powerful puppy too. Leng Wudi said in realization. How do you know? Lan Lai asked in disbelief. Because your desire is written all over your face, and you're drooling a lot, Sun Ting interrupted. Ah. When did I drool? Lan Ming actually really wiped the corner of his mouth. But he realized that he had been fooled and couldn't help roaring. Chapter 402, Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 4. Shu, be quiet. Do you want everyone to hear you? Sun Ting raised his eyebrows and reminded him. I'm not drooling. Don't wrong me. My image can't be destroyed in your hands, Lan Lai whispered with a very serious expression on his face. Do you have an image? Sun Ting asked in puzzlement. The first time he met Lan Lai, he was on the streets. Moreover, he was being chased and beaten by his father at the time. The image of the father and son back then was still deeply imprinted in his mind, and it was still so clear. So he didn't think that Lan Lai had any image left to speak of. Of course I do. I'm a handsome and peerless beautiful youth loved by everyone. Lan Lai said narcissistically. Before he could finish speaking, Leng Wudi and Sun Ting turned their heads to the other side. You, really don't give me any face. Lan Lai said angrily. Boo-hoo. These two detestable fellows. The Sun family probably hates Leng Ruoxue and the others to the core now. Leng Wudi ignored Lan Lai's anger and began chatting with Sun Ting. Yes, isn't that obvious? Sun Ting nodded. Sun Meilin was the prettiest among the many girls in the Sun family. The Sun family had always regarded her as the most important chess piece. Otherwise, why would they spoil her to the heavens? But this chess piece was already stinky now, so. I wonder who the Sun family will marry her to? Leng Wudi asked curiously. That will depend on who is the most useful to them, Sun Ting said lightly. Hey, stop talking about that woman, okay? Lan Lai protested. He hated that woman who made him lose his appetite. The competition is about to begin. Lan Lai added. Leng Wudi and Sun Ting looked toward the inner area. As expected, the host was already standing on a high stage, trembling with fear. His face was very pale, and his body was swaying like a willow in the wind. At the seats of Leng Ruoxue and the others. What's wrong with this host? Leng Qingtian asked in puzzlement while looking at the obviously abnormal host. Who knows, Leng Ruoxue said without much interest. At the same time, the host spoke. Today is the first round of the group round robin. The competition officially begins, the host said a few words briefly and then ran off the stage impatiently and disappeared. Is there a man-eating tiger behind? Why did he run away so quickly? Old Zhao asked in bewilderment. It was too strange. Probably. Leng Ruoxue teased. Leng Ruoxue, my aunt wants to see you and that puppy. Zhou Kun appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others, slightly gloating. President Zhou, can't you see that the competition has already started? I'm sorry, this young lady isn't free, Leng Ruoxue said without giving him face, not even bothering to look at Zhou Kun. Humph. Leng Ruoxue, you will regret it if you don't go, Zhou Kun said fiercely. Then he flicked his sleeves and left. I'm afraid you'll regret it if you go. Old Zhao couldn't help muttering. Sun Meilin's mother is here. Little Snowy, you have to be careful. Lan Ming said with a solemn expression. Sun Meilin's mother was notorious for being sinister and cunning. Moreover, her methods of dealing with people were extremely vicious. Her mother. Is her mother very fierce? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. How should I put it? Her mother and President Wu have a very close relationship, so, staying in the Mystic Association headquarters is like staying in her home, Lan Ming said uncomfortably. He believed that Leng Ruoxue would understand what he meant. Little Snowy, don't be scared. She's just an old woman. I'll resolve her with a sneeze, Icy promised and patted his chest with his little paw. Little Lan Lan, did you hear that? Leng Ruoxue smiled and caressed Icy's soft fur. You're amazing, okay. Lan Ming said helplessly. Alas. What a powerful puppy. It's good that you know. Icy's proud little tail perked up. He was so smug. Lan Ming turned his head to Old Man and reminded, by the way, Old Man, you and Sun Meilin are in the same group. But she has lost so much face, so who knows if she'll still participate in the competition. You have to be careful if she participates. Yes, when will I be appearing? Old Man asked. You're third, Lan Ming said as he looked at the schedule. There were a total of 5 groups now, and there would be 10 matches every day added together, so they were arranged to compete on the same arena. This way, the audience wouldn't miss any exciting matches. Little Snowy, you're in the same group as Old Zhao. Yi Chen and Feng Jing are in the same group, and Leng Qingtian and Lin Liang are in the same group, Lan Ming continued with a helpless expression. Oh, That means we can advance as long as we defeat the other two opponents. Leng Ruoxue said understandingly. This saved a lot of trouble. Not bad. She was very satisfied with this arrangement. Little Snowy, your other two opponents aren't weaker than you. If they have any secret weapons, I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to obtain victory, Lan Ming analyzed. He wasn't worried about the strength of Leng Ruoxue and the others. What he was more worried about was that those two people would be bribed by Zhou Kun and the Sun family. That would be very disadvantageous for Leng Ruoxue and the others. Old man Little Lan Lan, you'll age faster if you think too much. Leng Ruoxue teased happily. Lan Ming didn't know what to do with Leng Ruoxue. Little Lan Lan, who's my first opponent? Old Zhao was very curious. Wouldn't he be able to fight less since he was with the girl? That was great. Sun Zhou City's Fan Kun, Lan Ming said. 2 of the top 20 were from Sun Zhou City. One was Sun Meilin, and the other was Fan Kun. Although Fan Kun wasn't as strong as Ni Tao, he was much stronger than Old Zhao. For this reason, Zhou Kun probably found a way to get Fan Kun into this group. Chapter 403, Whoever Possesses a Dragon is Supreme, 5-0. Old Zhao nodded nonchalantly. Fan Kun should have a secret weapon in his hands, so don't be careless, Lan Ming couldn't help reminding. Yes, little Lan Lan, it's my turn. Fan Kun, here I come, Old Zhao nodded and said loudly, his face full of excitement. The first match had already ended while they were talking. Old Zhao also heard the referee calling his name, so he dashed out and jumped onto the arena. Old Zhao crossed his arms and stood proudly on the arena. He shouldn't lose to others in disposition. Even though the opponent was an elementary mystic, and his strength was inferior to him, he absolutely couldn't lose to him in terms of aura. Old Zhao, admit defeat. Fan Kun raised his head arrogantly. This opening speech was so familiar. Old Zhao couldn't help thinking that someone had said this to him in a certain match. But he won in the end, Do you think you're fit to call me Old Zhao? You have to call me Grandpa Zhao. Old Zhao roared at the top of his lungs. Immediately, his roar reverberated throughout the entire competition venue. You don't know what's good for you. Fan Kun roared as though it was all for Old Zhao's good. You're right. I've lived for so long, and I really don't know what's good or bad. But I have a sense of shame. I won't run around the inner area naked, Old Zhao teased happily. You die. Fan Kun was furious. If it weren't for the competition, he would have chosen to leave like the others. Unfortunately, President Zhou didn't allow him to retreat, so he had to bite the bullet and go into battle. Come on. Come on. I'm not afraid of you. Old Zhao danced around and winked provocatively. Old Zhao, you're dead meat, Fan Kun said furiously and summoned his pet beast. His pet beast was actually a nauseating earth dragon. Its hundreds of meters long winding body coiled together, and its head and tail couldn't be distinguished at all. There was a faint black liquid flowing in its dark red body, and the mucus on its body kept falling onto the stage, emitting waves of stench. Damn, this thing of yours is really too disgusting. Hurry up and take it back. Old Zhao covered his nose, feeling that it was unbearable. Damn, why would anyone take in such a disgusting pet beast? It's too deceitful. Not only was Old Zhao unable to take it, but even the referee on the arena covered his nose and hid far away. Many people in the audience began to vomit. Why is it this disgusting thing again? Leng Ruoxue looked at the enormous thing on the arena and frowned with some displeasure, her face full of disdain. This earth dragon reminded her of the one she had encountered at the bottom of the volcano. This one seemed to be stronger than that other earth dragon, but it was equally disgusting. Why does this earth dragon look so familiar? Lan Ming murmured to himself, frowning in thought. Familiar? You've seen it before? Len Ruoshua asked doubtfully. I remember now. I've seen this earth dragon in the Sun family residence before, Lan Ming said after thinking for a long time. Little Snowy, this earth dragon is already a transcendent divine beast. It probably came out to deal with little Zeo's dragon, Icy suddenly said. In fact, he was also a little puzzled because he was really curious how this earth dragon became a transcendent divine beast. Logically speaking, it was impossible for earth dragons to advance to transcendent divine beasts. Then what should we do now? Lan Ming asked worriedly. Will old Zeo be in danger? It's okay. Don't worry, Len Ruoshua comforted. She knew very well how many trump cards old Zeo had. Don't worry about it. Lan Ming was speechless. Isn't this girl too confident in old Zeo? Just as Lan Ming's imagination was running wild, and he couldn't figure it out no matter what, suddenly, thunderous exclamations erupted from the audience. Heavens! 5 dragons! How can we still live? Wow, it's really too scary. Lan Ming heard the discussions in the audience and looked up at the arena. His eyes immediately widened, and he took a long time to recover. Where did so many dragons come from? Lan Ming was so excited that he stammered, his handsome face full of disbelief. Of course we raised them ourselves, Len Ruoshua said nonchalantly. Raised them themselves? They can raise dragons? Lan Ming was depressed. He also wanted to raise one himself, but he didn't know where to find one. On the arena. Old Zeo looked at the dragons flying around him, protecting him like the stars surrounding the moon. He was so happy. This feeling was too flashy. But his opponent, Fan Kun, was not in such a good mood. At this moment, Fan Kun's face was pale. His body, which was not very strong to begin with, was trembling like a fallen leaf in the wind as his legs softened bit by bit. Finally, he sat on the floor of the arena without any backbone. There was even liquid flowing out between his legs. Ah! The might of the dragons was really too strong. He was already scared silly. The originally proud earth dragon was not much better than Fan Kun. It was so scared that it didn't dare to move as soon as the 5 dragons appeared. It wouldn't be afraid if there was only one dragon, but there were 5 of them. In fact, this was also because the level of the earth dragon's bloodline was too low. If it were other transcendent divine beasts, although the bloodline pressure would definitely be there when facing 5 dragons, it wouldn't necessarily be without the strength to fight. Children, destroy these 2 disgusting and embarrassing things for Master, old Zeo ordered with a smile on his face. Yes, Master, the 5 dragons answered in unison and sprayed out several dragon breaths. In the blink of an eye, Fan Kun and the earth dragon disappeared from the arena without any resistance. Old Zeo turned his head and said to the referee with a smile. Referee, do I need to wait another 10 minutes? Chapter 404, Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. 6, No need, the referee hurriedly said, so scared that he was trembling. Fuck, what's the big deal with having dragons? You can't scare me like this, he couldn't help cursing. But after thinking about it, he began to cry in his head again. Boo-hoo. It's great to have a dragon. Whoever possesses a dragon is supreme. Oh, but you haven't announced that I won yet. Old Zeo said aggrievedly. He couldn't leave the arena without the referee announcing the result. Boo-hoo. Old Zeo won, the referee said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. I won. Old Zeo walked down the arena happily and swaggered back to his seat under the jealous and envious gazes of the audience. The 5 dragons also transformed and surrounded him. Lass. Can we advance directly if you kill your opponent later? Old Zeo asked hurriedly after sitting down. Len Ruoshua nodded and said coldly, yes, I'll kill him as long as he doesn't admit defeat. Ah. Little Snowy, we can't be so violent and bloodthirsty. Lan Ming was at a loss for words. Can you not be so arrogant? In fact, he was wrong. Leng Ruoxue was just trying to save trouble. She was really not arrogant. After old Zhao finished his match, it was old man's turn. But after he went on the arena, his opponent said something to him and then directly admitted defeat. Old man walked down the arena gloomily, returned to his seat, and sat down without a word. What's wrong with you, old fellow? You're still frowning after winning, old Zhao asked in surprise. This was too unlike the old man he knew. You still have the cheek to say that even though it's all because of you. Old man said through gritted teeth. His opponent was about the same strength as him. He originally wanted to have a good spar with his opponent, but he didn't expect him to admit defeat. Alas! It was really infuriating. I didn't ask him to admit defeat. What does it have to do with me? Old Zhao pouted aggrievedly. If you didn't show 5 dragons at once, he wouldn't have admitted defeat. Old man roared. What was the point of the competition if people kept admitting defeat like this? These people really had no professional ethics and were not dedicated at all. He was full of complaints now. What did that person say to you? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. He asked me if I had a dragon. I was honest and said yes. Then he directly admitted defeat. Boo-hoo, old man was regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have said no. Why was he so honest? Ah. Do you have a dragon too? Lan Ming thought he heard wrongly and couldn't help asking. Boo-hoo. Could all these people have dragons? Did dragons really become cabbages? If this old thing has dragons, why wouldn't I? Old man said, very displeased. Ah. That's not what I mean. Lan Ming was a little helpless. He knew that these 2 old men were a little at odds, but he didn't expect that old man would even fuss over his words. Let me tell you, Brat Lan. I have everything this old thing has, old man said angrily. He was really angry. Ah. Got it. Lan Ming nodded repeatedly like a little wife. Boo-hoo, he didn't dare to spout nonsense. Ha! Leng Ruoxue laughed disloyally when she saw Lan Ming's aggrieved expression. Little Snowy, you really don't have any sympathy, Lan Ming complained, his eyes full of bitterness. Ha, it's good that you know, Leng Ruoxue said happily. Ruoxue, it's my turn, Lin Liang said. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded slightly. After speaking, Lin Liang stood up and walked toward the arena. Lin Liang stood on the arena, but his opponent had not arrived yet. After waiting for a few minutes, the opponent finally came. Lin Liang heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately. He was really afraid that this opponent would shrink back at the last minute. Lin Liang's opponent was a man in his 30s. He had delicate facial features and a tall figure. His strength was on par with him, and they were both elementary mystics. Before the battle, I have a question for you. You have to answer me honestly, the man asked cautiously, his expression abnormally serious. What is it? Tell me. Lin Liang's heart skipped a beat, and a bad feeling emerged in his heart. I want to know, do you have a dragon? The man asked carefully. Don't be scared. I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang replied after being stunned for half a second. It wasn't that he was dishonest. It was just that he really wanted to compete with this person. Referee, I admit defeat, the man said directly to the referee after hearing what Lin Liang said. Lin Liang was dumbfounded. He said there was no dragon. Was he wrong? I said I don't have a dragon, Lin Liang said with certainty. So what? What if you're lying to me? The man's face was full of disbelief. Moreover, the more Lin Liang said he didn't have one, the more he didn't believe him. Besides, he had already decided that he wouldn't fight Lin Liang no matter what, regardless if Lin Liang had a dragon or not. He didn't want to lose his life just to show off. Hearing this, Lin Liang was completely depressed. After the referee announced Lin Liang's victory, he lowered his head, returned to his seat in a depressed mood, and sat down without a word. Ha, don't tell me that brat Lin is like me. Old man looked at Lin Liang, who was in the same boat, and his mood became much better. I'm different from you. I told him that I didn't have a dragon, Lin Liang said gloomily. Ah. Then why did he admit defeat? Old man couldn't understand. What was there to be afraid of when there were no dragons? How could a mystic be so timid? He didn't believe me. Lin Liang said helplessly. Alas. Those mystics were all frightened now. It probably wouldn't be easy to trick them into fighting with him. Hee, that's good. We can save time, old Zhao said happily. Save your head. Lin Liang and old man roared in unison. Mystics who could enter the top 20 basically had some strength, so they cherished this opportunity and wanted to have good fights with them. However, they didn't fight them at all. Alas. Chapter 405, Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 1. Don't be angry. At this point, being angry won't help. Lan Ming comforted them. Alas. He didn't expect things to turn out like this either. Old Zhao's 5 dragons scared everyone, and no one dared to take action anymore. This was likely something no one expected. Moreover, this time's mystic competition was probably the most exciting but least suspenseful one in all the previous years. Alas. Everyone couldn't help sighing, and no one said anything. Immediately afterward, Ling Qingtian, Feng Jing, and the First Elder also went on stage. They also encountered the same situation, and their opponents even admitted defeat without saying anything to them. Shuer, I think we can pack up and get ready to go back, Ling Qingtian said with a black face, very displeased. He was full of anger now because his opponent immediately admitted defeat without even saying a word. Boo-hoo. Grandpa, Freak and I have yet to compete. Len Ruoxue reminded as 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Alas. Grandpa is also agitated. What compete? You'll just take a leaf out of our book, go up, and then come back, Ling Qingtian said. Ah. Len Ruoxue was speechless. Grandpa, can you not be so direct? Little Snowy, it's your turn, Lan Ming reminded. Okay, I'm going then. Len Ruoxue stood up, looked at everyone, and slowly walked onto the arena. On the arena. Len Ruoxue looked at her opponent helplessly and pondered in her heart. Am I that scary? Such a strong man is actually so scared that his face is pale, his body is trembling, and he's looking at me with a face full of fear as if I had done something heinous. Referee, I admit defeat, the man hurriedly said as he stole a glance at Len Ruoxue. Wait, I don't have a dragon. What are you afraid of? Len Ruoxue asked, unwilling to give up. You have a dog. It's even more terrifying than a dragon, the man said in horror while looking at Icy, who was lying on Len Ruoxue's shoulder and pretending to be asleep with his eyes closed. At this moment, seemingly hearing the man's words, Icy's little ears twitched, scaring the man away. Len Ruoxue looked at the man disappear at the speed of light and turned her head helplessly to the referee. Len Ruoxue, victory, the referee hurriedly shouted and then swiftly left the arena. Len Ruoxue walked off the arena and returned to her seat. Ha, lass, you're back, old Zhao said with a smile, in a very good mood. Yes. Len Ruoxue nodded. Shuer, it's my turn. Freak hugged Len Ruoxue gently. Len Ruoxue looked at Freak, who had already walked onto the arena, and said to Ling Qingtian and the others, okay, Grandpa. We can go back. Let's go to the passageway and wait for Yi Chen. Ling Qingtian stood up. Okay. Everyone stood up and walked toward the passageway to the inner area as if there was no one else around. When Leng Ruoxue and the others arrived, Freak happened to walk out. Without a doubt, his opponent had directly admitted defeat. Everyone smiled at each other and returned to their residence together. In the courtyard, everyone divided the work and busied themselves preparing a feast. Little Snowy, I've lived for more than 30 years, and this is the first time I've seen a mystic competition that can be won so easily. The previous competitions were very intense. Lan Ming felt the unfriendly gazes of everyone, and the pressure multiplied, so he quickly corrected himself. I'm not saying that this competition isn't intense enough, but the suspense isn't much. Do you mean that this is all our fault? Leng Ruoxue glanced at Lan Ming lightly. No. The others are too weak, Lan Ming said ingratiatingly, his little heart thumping nervously. How many days until the competition ends? Leng Ruoxue asked. Lan Ming calculated the time and said, probably another half a month. That long? Leng Ruoxue frowned slightly. It's always been like this, Lan Ming explained. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. President Lan, I am Elder Su. An old voice sounded outside. Elder Su. What is he doing here? Lan Ming was a little puzzled. Elder Su was trusted aide and usually ignored him when he saw him. Now, he actually took the initiative to look for him. It must be nothing good. You'll know when you let him in. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Okay, I'll let him in now. Lan Ming went to open the door. Ha! President Lan, you're all here. This is great. Elder Su stretched his neck out from outside the door and looked in, his face full of flattery. Yes. May I know why you're here, Elder Su? Lan Ming said with a spurious smile. President Lan, are you planning to let me stand outside? Elder Su asked with a smile and didn't answer Lan Ming's question. Elder Su, please enter. Lan Ming stretched out his hand and made an inviting gesture. Ha! Congratulations, everyone, Elder Su said immediately when he walked into the courtyard and saw Leng Ruoxue and the others. President Lan, why did you let a stranger in so casually? Leng Ruoxue said with a stern face, a little displeased. Elder Su was stunned. This. Did he hear it right? What did that ugly woman say? He is Elder Su of the headquarters, Lan Ming said while suppressing his laughter. The headquarters is really too rude. Why did they send a loser, one? We want eldering, too. Leng Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. My last name has a different character from Lu's. Elder Su explained very patiently, but he was quite dissatisfied in his heart. He wouldn't have come if not for the president. He definitely wouldn't be here to be angered by an elementary mystic. What a bumpkin from who knows where. So uncultured. They're the same, no difference. Leng Ruoxue said with a silly smile. 1. Su has the same sound as lose in Chinese. 2. Ing means win in Chinese. Chapter 406, Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 2. They are different. Elder Su roared angrily. Wow! Freak, this old man is so fierce. Leng Ruoxue was so scared that she hurriedly hid in Freak's arms to seek comfort. Damn old man, why are you scaring my woman? She's very timid, Freak threatened fiercely while hugging Leng Ruoxue tightly and glaring at the uninvited Elder Su with a displeased face. Elder Su was speechless, and his forehead was full of black lines. He didn't have any inkling that Leng Ruoxue was timid. How could someone who dared to offend the Sun family be timid? Alas! Elder Su even had the intention to bang his head against the wall when he encountered these unreasonable people. I didn't do it on purpose, Elder Su said, wanting to cry. Boo-hoo, he really regretted coming here to suffer this. Yes, you did it on purpose, Freak said with certainty. I really didn't. Elder Su felt wronged. He clearly didn't say or do anything here. Humph. Damn old man, tell me quickly. Why are you here? Hurry up and scram after speaking, Freak said irritably. I'm here to inform you that all the competitors have forfeited except for the 8 of you, so the group stage has been cancelled. The finals will begin tomorrow. Elder Su was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. But he still had to forcefully finish what he wanted to say. Who asked him to take on this task? Boo-hoo. Regret. Oh, that's all. Freak asked lightly. Elder Su wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and quickly said, yes. Alas. Why did this man give him so much pressure? Hurry up and scram before I kick you out. Freak roared with widened eyes. Ah. You're too rude, Elder Su said angrily. He was an elder of the Mystic Association headquarters and a trusted aide of the president. Everyone was respectful no matter where he went. He had never received such treatment. Politeness is for people, Freak said lightly. What he implied was that Elder Su wasn't human. You barbarians. Elder Su almost fainted from anger. Are you really waiting for me to kick you? Freak frowned in puzzlement. Hee, little Chin Chin, don't kick. I'll just sneeze, interrupted Icy, who was watching the commotion by the side, unwilling to be left out. You. Ah. Elder Su was about to go crazy from anger, but he disappeared with a whoosh. Ah. Little Icy is still the most powerful. Freak said with a smile. Of course, hee. Icy smiled proudly, his little tail curling up. Say, what do you think Wugong is doing? Why did all those people admit defeat? Even Su Nan admitted defeat. What's going on? Lan Ming was puzzled. Moreover, he felt uneasy. He thought that this matter wasn't so easy. Old little Lan, why are you thinking so much? Aren't you tired? It's not bad that they admitted defeat. At least my reward is about to arrive, Len Ruoxue said happily. They could leave after the competition ended. But I feel a little uneasy. Lan Ming voiced his concern. It's useless to be uneasy. Worrying won't solve the problem. What should come will come, Len Ruoxue comforted. Alas. Lan Ming just couldn't bear not paying attention to it. Little Lan. Don't even think about it. It won't be easy for them to plot against us, old Zhao comforted. Yes, that's right. The meal is ready. Everyone, eat quickly. Rest early after eating, Feng Jing mediated. Len Ruoxue and the others were very happy during this meal, but Lan Ming was preoccupied. After dinner and tidying up, Len Ruoxue said, I'm going to rest, we're going back to our rooms too. Leng Qingtian and the others looked at Lan Ming. Okay, I'm going back too, Lan Ming said. The next morning, Len Ruoxue and the others had breakfast and then went to the competition venue. Although there was no longer much suspense in the competition, and the top 3 spots in this competition would definitely come from among the 8 of them, there were still many spectators at the venue. After all, they were still very curious about who the top 3 would end up being. Moreover, they might even be able to appreciate the fierce competition on the arena. After everyone sat down in their seats, Lan Ming looked at everyone with a puzzled expression. Why didn't you ask me about the rules of the finals? Lan Ming finally couldn't help asking curiously. These people were strangely too quiet. What's there to ask? We've already decided to forfeit, old Zhao said nonchalantly. Last night, they had secretly discussed it, and everyone unanimously agreed that they had to end the competition as soon as possible so that they could leave this place. After all, they were new and really too unfamiliar with this boundless heaven continent. Therefore, after completing the competition, they planned to travel around properly. Forfeit? Why? Don't you want the reward anymore? Lan Ming said in surprise. He couldn't understand. The current situation was good, so why did they want to forfeit? Could forfeiting be contagious? Why not? We didn't say that everyone would forfeit. Lass, little Chin Chen, and old Leng won't forfeit, old Zhao explained. How could they let go of the rewards that they deserved? Oh, you scared me. I thought you didn't even want the rewards. Lan Ming said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Little Lan, don't forget our appearance fee. Leng Ruoxue reminded with a smile, raising her eyebrows slightly. Little Snowy, you're already very rich now. Why do you still care about the appearance fee of tens of millions? Lan Ming asked in disbelief. Of course I care. Tens of millions is enough for ordinary people to live for a lifetime. It's not a small sum, Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. She had already decided to glorify the spirit of frugality after coming to the boundless heaven continent. Ah. Here. I've already prepared it, Lan Ming said helplessly and handed Leng Ruoxue an anonymous silver card. Alas. He had become very helpless since meeting this girl. Chapter 407, Don't be afraid, I don't have a dragon. 3, Little Lan, you're very trustworthy. Remember to take care of me if you have any business in the future. Leng Ruoxue teased as she put away the silver card. Little Snowy, your asking price is too high. I probably won't be able to afford to ask you if there are a few more times, Lan Ming joked happily. It's okay. I can give you a discount, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. That's more like it. Lan Ming nodded with satisfaction. At this moment, the host's voice sounded from the stage. The host stood on the stage again and began speaking on the loudspeaker. What was rare was that not only did he not get down to business this time, but he even began to talk non-stop. Only when the audience was a little impatient did he stop speaking tactfully and announce the official start of the finals. But after waiting for a long time, no one saw the participants of the finals go on stage. They couldn't help whispering and discussing. What's going on? Why aren't they competing yet? That's right. I clearly saw Leng Ruoxue and the others. What's the situation now? The audience was puzzled, and the venue blew up again. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue and the others were at the referee's seats communicating with the head referee. What did you say? Say it again. The head referee looked at Leng Ruoxue and the others in disbelief, thinking that he had misheard. I said, we want to forfeit, old man said word by word in case this head referee was so old that he couldn't hear clearly. In fact, they had collectively come to the referee's seats while the host was speaking and said that they wanted to forfeit. But after 10 minutes, this so-called head referee was still asking them the same question. No, no one will compete if you forfeit. This is the finals. None of you are allowed to forfeit, the head referee roared loudly and panted heavily. This was too childish. He had been in charge of so many competitions, but this was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Moreover, today was only the first round of the finals. During the last round of the finals, President Wu not only wanted to watch the competition, but he also planned to take in disciples. If they all forfeited, President Wu would skin him alive. Only the 5 of them forfeited. The 3 of us didn't say we're forfeiting. Leng Ruoxue reminded kindly. Alas! The poor old man was immediately dumbfounded when he heard that they were forfeiting. He couldn't even understand what they were saying. You want forfeit? The head referee asked uncertainly. He had clearly heard that they were forfeiting just now. I want forfeit. I still want the reward. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Oh! The head referee wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Fortunately, there were still a few seedlings left. Boo-hoo. President Wu shouldn't blame me then, right? Since there are matches, can we forfeit? Old Zhao said impatiently. The matches for today have been arranged, so you can't forfeit now. Of course, admitting defeat is possible. The head referee braced himself. What he implied was that they had to put on a show and go on stage. After all, the audience at the scene had spent money to enter. Oh, all right then. But after our matches this time, we won't do anything else. Old Zhao said very understandingly. Hee. Lan Ming had already reminded them just now that it was a little late for them to forfeit, so it probably wouldn't be approved. Therefore, they were already prepared, and now was the time to sell a favor to the head referee. Okay. You can forfeit after your matches today, the head referee said gratefully, thinking that these people were sensible. At least this way, President Wu would have no reason to blame him. Then let the competition begin quickly. Let's end this quickly. Old Zhao said anxiously. Okay, the competition can begin. The head referee turned to the referee beside him and ordered. After receiving the notification, the referee walked onto the arena. On the main stage. Hey, what do you think Leng Ruoxue and the others are planning? Lan Lai asked the people beside him with a puzzled face. I don't know, Sun Teng answered coolly. Won't we know if we continue watching? Leng Wudi said nonchalantly. Lan Lai rolled his eyes at Sun Teng and Leng Wudi and then said to Su Nan, why did you forfeit? Alas! He knew that he wouldn't get the answer he wanted from these two people. These two boring fellows. Of course I have to forfeit if I can't beat them. Su Nan said nonchalantly. In fact, it wasn't a problem for him to enter the top 10. But he hadn't thought about it before because those dragons were really too abnormal. He didn't have such powerful pet beasts. If not for those dragons, you would have had a chance to enter the top 5, Leng Wudi said lightly. Leng Ruoxue, Yi Chen, and Old Man were definitely stronger than Su Nan. As for Leng Qingtian and Lin Liang, their strength should be on par with Su Nan. It was difficult to say who would win. Chance to enter the top 5? What does that mean? Lan Lai blinked, his handsome face full of question marks. He can enter the top 5 if he performs beyond his level. Otherwise, he won't have a chance, Leng Wudi explained lightly. He also rolled his eyes at Lan Lai, who was stuffing food into his mouth non-stop. He really didn't understand how a guy who only knew how to eat and sleep advanced to Mystic Monarch. Oh. Lan Lai nodded and turned his gaze to the arena. Where is everyone? Why isn't there anyone competing? Lan Lai looked at the empty arena and the mostly empty audience seats in puzzlement. They've left, Sun Teng answered coolly, stood up, and prepared to leave. Ah. Why did they leave? Aren't the matches not over yet? Lan Lai was puzzled. Could Sun Teng want to leave too? Today's matches are over, Leng Wudi said helplessly. Alas. People who only cared about food. They had poor eyesight and were actually deaf. How pitiful. No way. I just saw the referee go on the arena. Lan Lai was depressed. There was only the referee standing on the arena, so why did the matches end? You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.